was a comment that was made on Facebook the other day about being a submissive woman. They were saying that a submissive woman controls her man, and I agree with that. I think until we begin to talk in honesty and transparency and stop pandering to both sides, especially to the sisters, because there is so much entitlement, and because men have been quiet for so long, and it's been the men that has been quiet were the type of men that y'all really need to be listening to. The men that doing the most talking ain't the ones, they don't have nothing to say anyway.
What's good? It's your boy Quay Price, man, holding it down for Kandid Konvos. Definitely check us out every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. People today, they lazy. Ain't nobody trying to put in no work. If stuff start getting a little rough in the relationship or in the marriage, ain't nobody trying to fix nothing. Like, I mean, that's how people's mindsets are today. Yeah, but that's how I know that folks don't truly understand what marriage was about, because they tap out way too easy. Yeah, you see people fight harder for a job, like they can't go get another one of them in 2 weeks. Yeah, she's talking about these guys coming to these foreign countries and sourcing out these foreign women because they possess these character traits. Yep, they're more cooperative when it comes to a man, or they're more cooperative when it comes to a marriage and a relationship. They're more, nurturing forward when it comes to a relationship. They're more I don't even want to use the word soft, but I'll use the word soft. They're softer when it comes to, these relationships and interactions with men and so forth. And like I said, we definitely got to be honest. We see a difference, right? We see a difference. And I think, Chloe and Tay made some good points earlier. A lot of this stuff is based around money over here in the West. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Kandid Konvos. I'm your host, Quay Price. We got Coco on deck. Well, we'll leave it just like that. Wait, hold on one minute. Let me get some stuff situated. Hold on 1 minute. We got all type of stuff going on.
Now, friend. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the show. As you can see, we still getting it together. But welcome to the show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. We are on a journey to reach 5,000 subscribers. We're getting close, but we need y'all help. So if you're a new viewer, please subscribe before you leave today. And join the community, y'all. Join the community. You'll like it here. Trust me. You're not going to want to miss what we got going on. So join the community, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to share your videos, you guys. Help us reach 5K.
Man, why y'all got me doing all this hosting? If Coco just gonna step in here and just say what she want to say like that, like I ain't even gotta be. Never mind, man. Shout out
You
to
just
y'all.
needed, you just needed my help. That's all. I'm here. That's what I'm here for.
I ain't mad. I appreciate the help. Like I said, shout out to y'all once again. If you haven't already, smash that like button. Likes are free. Smash that like button. And stop being stingy with the likes, man. Stingy with the likes, man. Also, man, for my YouTube folks, hit that subscribe, man. Let's say help us grow the channel. Let's say we're trying to get to 5,000. So if you enjoy the conversations every Wednesday night and other days of the week, man, hit that subscribe, man. Yeah, hit that subscribe. That's all we asking. Hit that subscribe. And we're trying to get to that 5K. All right. So let me do this real quick as we get into this conversation. Here's the link right here to join us on the panel. You can drop this in your Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge. If you're coming through your Apple device, come on through your Apple device, man. Should have got you a Droid, but come on through your Apple device. Join us on the panel. Don't be scared. Like I said, this ain't no echo chamber. We're going to get to it. We run from no conversation. So definitely join us. In addition to the video feed, we also have this link in the chat feeds as well. So you can catch it at the Kandid Konvos page on YouTube or Facebook. I have to bump my little audio up, man. It's a little quiet. Let me get my little audio together. Hold on. Let's see if I can go up to some. Everything quiet today. I don't know what's going on. That's a little better. We'll see. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, let us know if you need that link. We have it in all the chat feeds as well. Okay. Let me do this and we're going to get over into this conversation. So tonight, let me get my stuff together. Tonight we are talking, let me drop this link down. Black People Are Confusion, Part 4. We run that back. Topic for tonight, Black People Are Confusion, Part 4. Okay. Oh, I see Renee is in the building. What's going on, Renee?
You know, making it happen. Hi, Coco.
I appreciate you hopping on. With us tonight. Yeah, we got another banger, so we're going to get right to it. So, y'all got to let me know if y'all can, when I play this video, y'all got to let me know if y'all can hear it. Because I don't know what's going on with my audio today.
I downloaded another copy. Maybe it might be better. It's in the folder.
Well, this is another one. I'm gonna start this other one, but I'll hold on. Give me a sec, y'all. Let me get myself situated. It's a lot going on today. I don't know what's really going on. Just make sure I got everything. Hold on.
What's up, Sybil?
Let me try to get myself together.
The real one checking in. Donovan checking in. Hey, y'all.
You just gonna take over my job like that? That's how you gonna do that?
What? You busy?
Right, don't be mad about the assist.
Right.
Oh, that's all.
Right.
Uh-oh. Here go Renee.
Everybody needs a Rodman.
See, this one you got the ladies, fellas. I need some backup. See, when you got all the ladies on the panel, this is how this goes. All right, I got the new copy. Okay. All right, so let me. Was we running her first? Is that what you want to do, Coco? You want to run her first?
Whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, hold on. Let me go and run her first then. See if she
quick as possible,
say.
But
Still quiet.
I try to be as quick as possible, but and I normally stay away from this kind of content, but I am very curious, and I've had this conversation with all of my friends and family, and they're tired of me talking about it. So I'm like, well, let me get some new perspectives, right? So, there's a male loneliness epidemic, and women in general used to not be able to have a job. They could not get a credit card. They could not get a bank account. They could not own a home. All they could do was find a man that was financially stable enough and stick by his side because that was their means of survival. That is not the case anymore. So women have evolved. We've said, 7 kids, that's kind of crazy. I actually can have my own money. I don't want to work and come home and do everything. And really all that you're splitting 50-50 is the bills. You're not splitting any of the household chores. You're not splitting any of the responsibilities with the children. You're not splitting anything but money. So I still have the onus of the entire home, child rearing, and the finances on my back. No, thank you. So we've opted out. So you have the male loneliness epidemic. And that's including, men just refusing to not lie, not cheat, not be abusive. I'm trying to figure out how women evolved to such a point to where literally we're like, yeah, we're not even going to be concerned with your attention or your time at all anymore. And in my mind, you would think that us removing that attention and that time would force men to adapt and to change and into a better form of evolution. But instead they're like, no, go back to, being beneath me, go back to being abused. The amount of women that have been unalived in the last couple of months, I mean, just historically, but even more. I seen a video of a girl who had acid thrown in her face from a guy she went on 2 dates with. Like, how are they not evolving into better species? Because we're evolving into better species. It's like, oh, the women are adapting. I want to be a provider and a protector. I want her to see me as a man. I want her to be attracted to me. I want her to know that I'm honest and I have good character. Let me fix that. It's the opposite. It's like, let me be a terrible person. I'm so confused how women are evolving, but men are not. Do you guys have any theories, any ideas? Let me know.
Okay. I'm gonna have to sit there and think about that for a second. Okay, so that was video number 1. So tonight we're talking Black people are confusion part 4. Okay, so y'all heard what the young lady said. See, I think Coco got all the comments. Hold on. So what you say? Hold on. What Civil say? Mr. Price, you have to hold it down with a panel of only women. Civil, come on, man. Civil, I need to send you that link, man. Don't be having me out here like this. Where Vince at? We're beatboxing, right?
This is not a men against women thing either. So I'm going to say that speaks a lot to you about how that was where your mind went first. Because that is not what this is about. This is about Black people. We're just all wonderful, beautiful, melanated, amazing people.
Hold on. I'm going to have to switch this topic. What's this going to be? Quay Price versus Renee? I need to switch the topic real fast. No, I'm just playing. No, I can hold it down. We good.
Oh,
no, we have a collective conversation. We all good. All right, let me get these comments. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Vince, did you see the video? We have to play it again if you didn't see it, Vince.
You me run it back for Vince?
Might as well, yeah. Give it another shot.
All right. Let me
I try to be as quick as possible, but and I normally stay away from this kind of content, but I am very curious, and I've had this conversation with all of my friends and family, and they're tired of me talking about it. So I'm like, well, let me get some new perspectives, right? So, there's a male loneliness epidemic, and women in general used to not be able to have a job. They could not get a credit card. They could not get a bank account. They could not own a home. All they could do was find a man that was financially stable enough and stick by his side because that was their means of survival. That is not the case anymore. So women have evolved. We've said, yeah, no, 7 kids, that's kind of crazy. I actually can have my own money. Yeah, no, I don't want to work and come home and do everything. And really all that you're splitting 50-50 is the bills. You're not splitting any of the household chores. You're not splitting any of the responsibilities with the children. You're not splitting anything but money. So I still have the onus of the entire home, child rearing, and the finances on my back. No, thank you. So we've opted out. So you have the male loneliness epidemic, and that's including, men just refusing to not lie, not cheat, not be abusive. I'm trying to figure out how women evolved to such a point to where literally we're like, yeah, we're not even going to be concerned with your attention or your time at all anymore. And in my mind, you would think that us removing that attention and that time would force men to adapt and to change and into a better form of evolution. But instead they're like, no, go back to, being beneath me, go back to being abused. The amount of women that have been unalived in the last couple of months, I mean, just historically, but even more. I seen a video of a girl who had acid thrown in her face from a guy she went on 2 dates with. Like, how are they not evolving into better species? Because we're evolving into better species. It's like, oh, the women are adapting. I want to be a provider and a protector. I want her to see me as a man. I want her to be attracted to me. I want her to know that I'm honest and I have good character. Let me fix that. it's the opposite. It's like, let me be a terrible person. I'm so confused how women are evolving, but men are not. Do you guys have any theories, any ideas? Let me know.
Okay, I'm ready this time.
Okay,
I'm
you
ready.
ready now? Let me
I'm ready.
let's see. Let's see, Donovan, let's see. This woman couldn't work. Mumbo jumbo is capped when it comes to the melanated woman. Yeah, that's Donovan, just to respond to this, man, I'm not sure why that's the only perspective we take. Yeah, there was a lot of women who did work. So I'm not sure why we want to try to present it as if they women couldn't work. Yeah, I'm not sure where that comes from. So yeah, I agree with you, Lester. There's definitely some conflicting perspective when it comes to this particular point right here. Let's see. Vince said, "Let's see. Here I come to say, here I come to save the day. Send me the link." All right, I'm gonna send it to you, man. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you. Um, let's see. Shout out to the Black Lexicon in the building. He said, "How could this be possible? It's next Wednesday already." Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Time is moving.
It's Wednesday already. Like
Time
I
is
said,
moving.
folks hit us up all the
Crazy.
time. Like, make sure y'all be on Wednesday. Folks be looking forward to this. So when we miss it, it'd be a problem. But let me
It's definitely a highlight.
say it again.
I said this is definitely a highlight.
Oh no, we love it.
We
We appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
We get we get scolded. We try to take a day off. So we so we definitely know. Let's say some folks they look forward to this one, unless they get at us when we not here. All right, Vince, I just sent that to you, man. All right, cool. So y'all drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think about what the young lady had to say. Let me make sure I'm caught up. Okay, we're gonna get to that in a minute. I'll bring that question up as soon as we get into this, Renee. I see your back chat right there.
Mhm.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll drop a comment. Let us know what y'all think about what she said in the video. So I'm coming back to the panel. So yeah, tonight we talking Black People Are Confusion Part 4. The young lady made a few points in here. I'm coming over to the ladies first. Yeah, this the ladies got to speak to this one. I got my points on here, but I'm coming to the ladies first. Coco, Renee, tell me what you thinking. Do y'all agree with the young lady? Was she tripping? Was her perspective a little skewed? I'm listening.
I mean,
Right?
so I think that I actually do believe that evolution has happened on both sides. I do believe that. The issue, I think, is that we have not evolved um, that the type of evolution that would be beneficial to us as a community, that hasn't happened, right? I think that this whole notion that women have just evolved past men, I think that's subjective, because some might look at the progress that women have made and might say, okay, but some of this progress that you guys are touting has been destructive to the community. And I think that there are some men who are like, we just plain don't see it as progress at all. And then I think that with women, they look at the way men are moving now and they assume that men are moving the way that they are because they're behind and because they haven't caught up and because of the way their progress is being framed like it's evolution, when really it's just you being a grown-up and doing what grown-ups do. I think that is why it looks like men are being left behind. When a woman decides that she wants to build a career, focus on her education, become highly educated, become skilled in a particular thing, and advance her career, those are all good things. And for her, that is progress. That absolutely is. But when it comes to relationship, is a man going to see that as something that he should, let's see, as a benchmark for him. He's not going to look at her success and say, her success is my benchmark. So I now have to catch up to whatever it is she thinks I need to catch up to in order for her to feel like I'm evolving. I think the fact that men are saying we want to exercise our free will and we don't want to marry you if we feel like you're just going to take us on a ride. I think men are evolving in their mindset by saying, hey, I know maybe you're used to men just throwing money at you because you're a beautiful woman, but I want more than that. I want you to show me something more than that. That is men evolving. Like, I think it's just that they're not doing what it is you believe they should be doing. They're not where you believe they should be according to your own standards and expectations. So in your mind, they haven't evolved. They haven't progressed. And that's why I'm saying it's really subjective. I think a lot of men are just plain opting out. It looks like men are saying we're done. Like, we're tired of certain things that we see. And we know that maybe not all women fit that narrative. But unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of women that do fit the narrative. And we're tired of that particular thing. So we're opting out. We're saying, you know what? Y'all got it. We're out. And I think some women are responding to that as, oh, we're leaving them behind. Baby girl, they don't want to go. They don't want to go. They don't want to go where you're going. You're not leaving them. They don't want to go. They're not interested. They see where you're going. They're good. So I think we have to be honest, right? Like, I want to see men take accountability for the areas where they are falling short. But I want to see women also take a look at the areas where they're falling short and say, or where they're maybe not seeing the big picture and not seeing the whole picture, and are saying, hey, we're seeing it from our perspective, but you're missing this whole other, this whole other perspective that would allow you to have a complete understanding. So you're saying men are not evolving. And I simply don't think that that's true. I think it's more so men are not doing, and I'll say it this way, the men that you have unfortunately been subject to are not doing whatever it is that you think they should be doing. And so for you feel like you've evolved and they haven't. And I just don't know when we're going to actually have the conversation of, maybe they just not that into you. Because I've seen men that are interested in women, like really interested in women, do whatever they got to do to be in that woman's atmosphere. Whatever they need to do, if they got to step something up, and if they have to fix something, if they have to arrange something, if they have to grow something, if they have to make something, they'll do it if that's what they want. But are you what they want?
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Renee, Vince, say whatever you want to say, or if you're good, let me know.
Let me see. So, Coco, you made some really good points. I'm gonna tackle it from a slightly different perspective. Societal wise, one of the things that I'm starting to notice is that at my age, there were certain things that were what I expected to be the norm by the time when I was younger, that I expected to be the norm now. And now they're no longer the norm, and I'm barely a generation in. So I think that we're having some generational disconnects because the newer generation is being fed, for lack of better words, a completely different narrative of reality than my generation originally was. So I come from a bunch of girls who were like, if a guy's going to take me out, he's going to be paying for it or whatever. And now when women are going and, working really hard and having their careers and, having enough money to take care of themselves, there are some who are still expecting that. But, there are some that are still expecting that. But then when this guy sees that she's pulling up in a Rolls Royce or something like that, he's like, well, why am I buying it? So I see that the men are also saying to themselves, well, if she's got so much, why isn't she taking care of me or whatever? And the hardest thing is that makes perfect logical sense, but it doesn't make biological sense. Because what's going to happen is the second she starts doing all of that, the man's going to feel emasculated and probably be like, I'm out. Like, for what? Why am I doing this? Like, here, she's taking care of it and all the other stuff. One of the things that is a powerful part of the male psyche and male biology is his ability to provide. And when it looks like there's somebody who's providing better than him, it's not that he is less masculine, it's just an emasculated situation. So when the girls are still trying to leave them in and I say we, but most women are hoping is a more masculated situation where he's like, oh, I'm open the door for you, which I think is so nice. It's okay, pull the chair out. It's like, oh, okay, because I got on this cute little outfit and whatnot. These are so nice, but then when it comes to that aspect, because he can clearly see she's got plenty of money and all that other stuff, these are thoughts that may go through his head, right? So I feel like society has created a completely different reality at this point that most of these people are used to. Like especially the younger generation is used to this new reality, but the older generation is not. So what do? Are we considering it an evolution? Because she keeps using the word evolution as though the way evolution is usually used is as though it is some sort of superior new way. So when she keeps saying evolution, she's like, oh, well, they just haven't stepped up or whatever. And I'm like, well, according to her personal perspective, yes, she sees it as stepped up. But I would call it more of an adaptation. What are you doing to adapt to the fact that now women are making more money? Somebody said, oh, they were never not making money. Yeah, but they weren't making the kind of money that it was always that men were normally in a position where they were making a whole lot more money, and the woman's income was more like a supplemental income based on other outside forces that were preventing them from having as much. And we know what some of those forces are. So they were both kind of in the same boat. She was expected to bring in, we'll say, 10% financial and 90% household or whatever percentage. And then he was doing would say the flip side of that. I would say also, let us please look at some of the rhetoric that I've heard males say about females, which I don't disagree with at all. But say women having children outside of wedlock or children prior to a relationship with this male and then expecting him to provide for it. I completely understand why a male would say, no, thank you. I didn't really want to do that. It makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, these women will hear that and say, understood. The evolution is men are not just taking wives in just for the sake of taking in wives like they used to. So they go out and they create more revenue on their own so that they have the ability to take care of these children. And then when they do that, it then becomes yet another problem. Oh, well, you make so much money. It's like, well, then I don't expect you to take care of my children. So it seems like there's a lot of people trying to adapt to each side's discrepancies or I forget the word, but each side's issues with the other side. And people are trying to adapt, and we're not finding a way to meet in the middle.
I get that. Vince, you want to say something on this? Go ahead, man.
Yeah. The problem is not that men have not evolved. The problem is that women are liars.
Oh.
Women are liars. And I'll give you a perfect example. You make all this money for who? For yourself. You don't make it for your family. Men make money for their families. Men have a pride in taking care of their families and their wives. Women do not want to take care of a man. If you ask any woman, and Kevin Samuels, I always like to use this, he asked these women, how much did you want to contribute to the family finances for a lifetime? Most women said 20%, 30%. The ones that did say 50%, he said, okay, so that means that you're going to work until you're 8 months pregnant. You only can be off for 3 months and you're going right back to work. Your income, if you don't work, y'all don't eat. Women, oh no, I don't want it like that. No, no, no. I want the ability and the option where my income is dependent on. That's the problem. That's the problem. Women, y'all claim y'all first thing they say, well, I make okay, well if you make more money, if you make as much money, then spend as much money. Spend it. They don't want to do that. They want old fashioned man with new fashioned ideals and morals. Men have always wanted the same thing, pretty much. Women have lied to themselves. They've adopted this feminine white woman problem. Black women have always worked. I don't know where people are getting this where black women didn't work. Both of my grandmamas worked. Both of my great grandmas worked. My mama worked. My aunties worked. Yeah, there was a period of time while they having kids, baby, but they worked. I don't know where this whole now you can't say, well, women didn't work more in the past because they had more children. If you having 6, 7, 8 kids, a kid every year, it's hard for you to work when you popping out a baby every 9 months. So I can understand that. But and that's why you see a lot of these women turn over to the other side once they get 35 and 40. Because there's no pressure in a woman taking care of a woman. Who cares? It's our money.
It's real.
But the problem is these women, they do not. And then another thing is this whole men don't do as much in the home. My 5-year-old goes to a very popular school in Southfield, where it's predominantly African American private. I see more men in the morning dropping off their kids. It shocked me. 90% men, doctors, lawyers, engineers, plant workers, taking their kids to school. So I don't even understand this whole where men just sit down and scratch their balls. I'm like, what men do that? Most of us were raised by women. So yeah, we know how to cook, we know how to wash clothes, we know how to give kids a bath. I just gave my two a bath, and my wife don't work. I do that because I love my kids. I mean, it's just this whole like black men just wasn't shit. And I hate that for our image. It's this whole, well, black men had us up under submission, like, we couldn't buy houses, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. So now that we got a little piece of social worker job that's making 80,000, 90,000 with $300,000 in student loans, now, yeah, we can suffer and struggle alone. But y'all counterparts make more money than y'all, and they still get husbands. Go on down to the DMC somewhere. Look at all the Asian nurses and Asian doctors. All of them got a ring on their finger, and they all ain't married to doctors, but they have a value in their men. Where grandmama could. Have you ever asked your grandmama why she stayed? Because sometimes it was because I loved my kids and I didn't want to break our family up. It wasn't necessarily because daddy had a whole family around the block and beat. And then another thing, it's like, has it gotten any better? Has our families really gotten any better? Since this whole I don't need a man. Our kids are messed up. Come on, let's just tell the truth. We living in a generation of kids that will not do as good as their parents, and that's the truth. And it's this whole, and then this whole, ladies, please understand this. Real men want wives. We don't want a partner. First, there is partnership in a wife, but we want a wife first.
Could you enlighten people a little bit more on what you would describe as "quote unquote" a wife, like
A
as
wife
opposed
is
to a partner? Yeah. Thank you.
A wife is a covenant love bond between you, that woman, and God. It's not business. A partner is business. I can I can choose to dissolve my partnership. I can go look for another partner. You can't look for another wife. It's a love covenant. It's not a business covenant first. I'm talking about what's first. It's like saying, I want to be a friend to my child. Yeah, friendship might be in there, but you a parent first. Then you're a confidant, a friend, or whatever it is after you're their parent.
Somebody said a wife exudes devotion. Wife exudes devotion. What would make
And
her want to exude that?
what will make her
Answer that,
want to?
Donovan. Answer that, Donovan. Go ahead,
Let
Vince.
Donovan, yep. Let Donovan expand on that one since that was his comment.
Go ahead, Vince. You go ahead and finish if you're
Yeah,
not
finish
done.
up
I
and
know
then
he's
I'll
done.
jump in.
I'm getting sick because when I think of partner, I think that word was really termed for people of the same sex. This is my partner, because a woman can't be a wife to another woman. We're partners. This is my partner. This is my life partner. So now we've adopted that, and now it's, oh, I don't want to be partnered. I hear a lot of women. You've never heard these women say that? Oh, I want to be partnered. And
For
that's
sure,
why
for
you can't
sure.
get a husband. And that's why you can't get a husband. Because you're looking for a partner. And the man that you really want, you want him to be a husband. You want him to be a covering. You want him to protect, provide. You want him to be like Christ loved the church and took care of the church. You don't want just somebody, okay, the bill come, I put 25, you put 25. And I think that we have decided to undervalue marriage. And it's crazy because I live in a neighborhood and surroundings that everybody is married. When I
Right.
go to Aquatots, all the parents are married. My kids' school, the parents are married. When I go married, 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 married. That's the only difference that I really see in our culture. It's not like they have a whole bunch of more money or this quote unquote white privilege. No, what is that they marry. That's why their household income is higher than ours, because our household income is a social worker woman and her 3 kids. So yeah, ours is going to be 80 and 90, and theirs is going to be 250
Yeah,
because
no, that's
it's
a valid point. Yeah, that's a valid point. No, I appreciate that right there. Did you want to add to that, Coco? I say because I'll get to it in a
Um,
minute if you good.
yeah, just a couple of things. Like I think, I know Renee asked a couple questions, so I want to try to at least grab a couple of them.
Go ahead.
That you answered. I know one of the questions was I mentioned something about um how some of the progress that women have made, or she called it evolution. Okay, I'm using her word, but some of the progress or evolution that women has made has been destructive. I think that just to expand on that just a little bit, what I mean is with this new found independence, let's call it that, that women have, which by the way, I just want to say this because I know Vince touched on it. What the feminist movement claimed to do for women was more of a win for the others. We didn't have the same struggles that they had with our men. We weren't in the same positions because the others, their men were the ones who were in control. Their men were the ones who were dominating society and then by extension dominating them. Our men were not in that position. We didn't have those same problems. We didn't need the feminist movement. We really didn't, right? Like I understand we weren't making the type of money that we are able to make now or have the type of careers that we have now, but we were always able to work outside of our homes. We were always contributing. Like that was not our fight really. And what some of those ideals did once they bled into our community was it was destructive because we started to take on these mindsets that really there was no real reason why we needed to think these things or feel this way, right? So we made our men an enemy in a way that we really didn't need to. Our men were not trying to dominate us or overrule us in the same way, especially because our socioeconomical state was just always different from theirs to begin with. Like our struggles just weren't the same. So how it got destructive was we began to believe the same hyper independent perspective and purview. We started to have that same thing. And all of a sudden it was like, we're being held back. We're all of a sudden submission is a bad thing. And our men wanting us to be in the homes, or our men wanting us to be more involved, or our men became a bad thing, became a problem. When literally, when we were more cohesive as a unit, our community was actually doing better. We stood to lose a lot while they gained so much more from that. It was destructive to us because we then started looking at each other like enemies. And once we started doing that, which was really no reason why we needed to do that, when we started doing that, that's when the structure of our families and our communities started to degrade. Like we no longer felt like women started to feel like, well, I don't need you anymore. When honestly, we still needed our men. Maybe they could go off and do that and be okay, but we still needed our men. We still needed each other as a community. It hurt our community, it hurt the strength and integrity of our community to start developing that same type of mindset and start moving that same way, right? Men are not intimidated. Let me just say this. Men are not intimidated. And I am the youngest of 5 brothers. Men are not intimidated by your money. They're not intimidated by your education. They literally don't care. What they care about is how you start to behave once you get this independent, hyper independent mindset. That's what they care about. They don't care about the education. They don't care about the money. They'll be proud of you. They'll be proud of that. They'll be proud that lady got that. They got a lady that got it going on. The problem is the attitude that usually comes along with that. It usually sounds a little bit like how she sounded in the video. Now all of a sudden I'm better. I'm better than you. I'm better. I've evolved. The way she said it, it wasn't I've grown. Yeah. I've made progress, right? You know what I'm saying? She would have said I've made so much progress. It was we've evolved past. And it's like, it's that right there. Yeah. The way she said it is very telling. It's the mindset. That's what men have a problem with. It's not that you're doing well. Why would he want a woman that's doing well? Like, I don't know where this notion is that a man that got something going on for himself would want a woman that has nothing going on for herself. Like, why would y'all think that they would want that? Right?
I can tell you why. I do have an answer for that one.
It's just simply not true. It's not true. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're a little
like
wrong.
If you find a man that doesn't want you to have anything for yourself, please understand that is a small population of men that you easily can move around.
Let me touch on that real quick.
Move around that guy.
My grandmother actually taught me the reason why. And when you say specifically, you say a man who would not want you to have anything else. Of course, he's trying to push you down, bad thing. But a man being happy that you had lesser than, my grandmother taught me this lesson. I went to the grocery store. I just grabbed a little quick bag of shrimp and some seafood salad. And my Nana, who, has a 5th grade education, and just as sweet as pie, sweet little lady, said, "Oh, baby, you got me the goods." So she was so happy. I think I spent maybe $30 max. I felt like a king. I said, "Oh, you were so happy for just a bag of shrimp?" It was so easy to please her. I felt amazing. She is the love of my life, and being able to bring her son and have her. Oh, let me call. Girl, let me call Mary and tell her my granddaughter done brought me that. I was like, well, call Mary. Tell her I brought you. What else? Let me. What else you want, sweetie? She was so appreciative of something that was so small to me that it was like, ooh. And I was like, I won't lie, I got a little taste of what men feel. I was like, that's how it feels when you do something for your girl. And she's like, ooh, baby, you did that for me. And it's like, yes, Nana, I did. And that's how it felt. So the thing is, if my grandma was already a multi-millionaire, me bringing her a bag of shrimp, she'd be like, oh, this is from the good grocery store? She'd be critiquing it because my grandmother would be on, I hate to say it, but a whole nother level. My grandmother's a simple girl from down south. So it made it that much easy to just impress her. And I wanted to impress her just because I loved her. So when we say these things like these women are going and making a whole lot of money, yep, which is then putting them on a different socioeconomic tier. Now they're used to certain things. And if guys don't have the ability to do something for her, and she's like, oh, baby, for me. Because, I mean, I won't lie. I don't know if it's exactly the way men feel it, but the way I felt when my grandma wanted to call Miss Mary and tell her what her grandbaby done brought her, I said, Lord, well, what else you want? You want me to get your nails done, your feet done? What you want, Nana?
So are you?
That's why it becomes very tough. That's why I said it puts men in what feels like, or it's something like a more emasculated position because these women have so much and have a lot more well versed in society, versed in higher quality things. And in order for him to, I guess, impress her, because a man, I will say, likes to impress a good woman.
So I'll finish where I was going with this, and then I'll let the men. No, you're good. You're good. Because I'm glad you got it out. I want to let the men expand on that because I don't want to speak for a man. I don't want to speak for a man. I'm more so speaking from what I've been told. But since we got men on the panel, we can let them actually expand on how men feel about that. But what I've observed as a woman being in spaces with women who have or would consider themselves to be those women who have achieved and who have broke barriers and who have, been able to make certain advancements in their career and in their education. What I have noticed is more of them lording it over their men than the man feeling some type of way about it. And I can say this because I was rather privy to the personal circumstance of she's another outside our community, where she was actually in a position where she was making more than her partner. And, her biggest fear was if he levels up. This was this woman's biggest fear was if he begins to make, when I'm making her more, then I'm not going to have the control anymore. I'm not going to be able to be the one that makes the final decisions and makes the final say and, takes control of things and says yes or no, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, are we projecting a little bit? And I'll say this, are we projecting? Because we don't want a man to make more money than us and then feel like they can control us because of that, or they get to wield it over us. But here we have a perfect example of a woman who's in this position and is married and is saying, I want to be always in this position because I don't ever want it to flip where now what I'm doing to him, he can do to me. So all I'm saying is it really that men are intimidated and they're fragile, so fragile that they can't take that you're doing well or that you're doing better than them, however you label that, or is it that we feel some type of way when we're in a position where we feel like we're doing better or we feel like we've achieved more? Is it their feeling or is it our feelings? Because as women, sometimes I feel like we project that. We make it a man's problem when it's really us. We have a problem with the fact that we're the ones making more money. We have a problem with the fact that when other women, when they go out with their men are in a certain position. So they do certain things. And if we want to do those same things because of the difference in the financial situations, we have to then be the ones to do it because our men can't. So is it really the man that feels some type of way? Or is it us? And I say that because I also have the flip. I also am close to someone where it's the other way around. So my point is, we have to be sure that we're not, once again, as women, putting our own feelings and projecting our own perspective onto men, because a lot of times men will answer this question and we won't listen because it's not what we want to hear. So I'll let the men answer that question about the intimidation thing, but I really think it's more of a mindset because I've been a woman who has been high achieving, high earning, full time, out in these streets, got the resume to prove it. And I will tell you firsthand that even me growing up in a situation where I learned how to be, submissive. I had the example of a woman who nurtured her family, took care of her family, was a stay-at-home mom, married for 40 plus years before he passed, like those types of things. That was my upbringing. And even I got into a space where I was feeling myself. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I'm picking a name for myself. I'm out here. I'm outside. I'm here. I'm there. People want to see me. People want to talk to me. People want my time. They want my attention. They want that kind of thing for a woman. Like you said, it make you feel real good, real good. So let's just be honest. What is it really? Because we keep saying it's the man.
We're not.
We have to check ourselves.
But it's both. Two things can be true at the same time. That's one of your favorite phrases. I think it is a matter of both, and we're in an empath right now. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is the men going to step up and start figuring out, okay, they're going to do it first, or are they going to say, no, women are in charge, you need to do it first? Or are we figuring out a way to do it mutually between the two?
Yeah, this is the thing, though. The problem is folks ain't trying to figure out nothing. Yeah, let me just go on and go there. All I hear is character flaws. Like that's literally all I hear, right? So I'm gonna circle back to the example that you gave, Renee, about the shrimp and the seafood salad, right? And you said that you was able to purchase this for your grandma. She enjoyed it, but then you also behind that gave a scenario of somebody making a substantial amount of money and then getting this same gift and then saying did you get it from the good store and all of this. Yep, and hearing that, for me, that is a character flaw. Right, let me just be honest. That's a character flaw. Yep, if somebody is doing something for you, you should appreciate it regardless. It don't matter if you're a millionaire or if you make $50,000 a year. If somebody go out and buy you some shrimp and some seafood salad, and that's something that you enjoy, it doesn't matter what your salary is. If that's a character flaw. Because see, at the end of the day, if you're going to run your appreciation across your socioeconomic level, then I'm just gonna be honest, I ain't doing nothing for you. Because you don't appreciate what I'm doing. Yep, and if money goes to your head that bad to where now you want to critique or judge what somebody is trying to do for you, that's a character flaw. So that's the first thing. So let me circle back because there's a lot that has been said. I gotta circle back to this video because I got some things I just gotta touch. This young lady started out by saying that there is a male loneliness epidemic. And my question to that is who told you that? I don't see no lonely dudes out here. Let me just be honest. I don't see lonely dudes out here like that. Yeah, when I step in the cigar bar, it's a whole bunch of dudes in there doing well, watching the game, sipping on their scotch, got their business suits on, just got done handling some business. Like I don't see all these lonely dudes that this young lady is trying to reference in this video. Let's say this once again seems like projection. I'm gonna tell you what I do see though. I see a whole bunch of videos being made about where are these men at, why I can't seem to get this man, why I can't seem to get the high value man, why the men don't come to the singles events, why the men don't come to the brunch. I see a lot of those videos. Yep. Why is it that when we go on the girls trip, we don't ever see no groups of men while we on the girls trip? Like I see those videos all the time. Yep. I see a lot of videos of young ladies trying to project this type of nonsense on these so-called lonely men out here. Yeah. So I think once again, when we're making these statements, there's never any factual context behind the statements. It's almost like taking jabs. Let me tell you where it's taking me though. I'm gonna put this in the form of a question, and we're gonna go and get right to it. Ladies, I know we got ladies on the panel. We got some ladies in the comments. Ladies, which one of y'all is ready to be real? Is this all going on because y'all miss men? Somebody keep it real with me, because that's what it's starting to feel like.
Yes.
It's starting to feel like the women out here, y'all miss the men.
Mhm.
Yep, y'all miss men being gentlemen. Y'all miss men. What you say earlier, Renee? Pulling out the chair, opening the door. You're paying for the dinner. It's like y'all miss men, but for the life of y'all, it seems like y'all can't figure out why the men not coming. And it's like with all the success, the careers, the degrees, the titles, the properties, the vacations, the brunches, the concerts, the shopping, the purses, the bags, the got it going on girl cars. The one thing that y'all have not been able to figure out is how to get a quality man to commit to y'all for the rest of y'all life.
That's it. That's it. And that's why they're saying y'all haven't evolved. That's it. Because they got all that going on for themselves. They have all that going on. But for some reason, they can't lock y'all down.
Well, that's because they want a shrimp salad from Bush's instead of Kroger. And one thing Renee said, I'm gonna push back on. It's not both. It's women. Because if you take a successful man who's good looking, tall, making money, no kids, he don't have a problem with getting married. He just don't want to. Y'all got a problem finding somebody that's gonna marry y'all. Y'all can be fine, money, degrees, and no husband and no prospects for the man that y'all want. Y'all always talk about the man that y'all don't want. Talk about the men that y'all want. Stop talking about these men that don't make as much money in y'all. Why is it the one that make as much money as y'all attracted to? Why y'all can't get that man? Why y'all always got to get the bus driver instead of the one who owned the bus company?
So
why can't y'all attract the man who owned the bus company?
Is this an actual question to be answered?
It is an actual question.
Because I'm ready.
Come on.
All right. So there's a couple of issues that are happening right here. We're trying to collapse it all into this single one thing. There's things like proximity. One of the things with women is that women will actually, a guy who's just around them, become more attracted to them regardless of what they're making socioeconomically, right? So proximity. So there's the MBTA where I live, which is the bus system. And man, them people just be Oh boy, but it's because they're always all around each other all the time. Now, of course, all of them have a job because they all work there. All of them are probably making something decent because it's a great place to work. But at the same time, there are men who they would consider ain't sugar honey iced tea there because they're spreading their everything everywhere. But yet there's for some reason they're still able to do that even though these women know this. And so it doesn't really have anything to do with what they're making like monetarily. So one, when women are in proximity with a guy, they're more likely to be attracted to him regardless of his socioeconomic status. The same reason why like a lot of girls will end up with their high school sweetheart. They grew up with them or whatever. Now that we have a larger reach, like the internet has people looking all over the internet and they see somebody in California, but they live in Vermont and they're like, ooh, that could be me. No, it could not. So what happens is it's making women's almost like when your eyes are bigger than your plate.
So you're saying that they don't have the options? How about the men that they work with?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So what happens is, again, but then that's step one. The other one is hypergamy. Women are always trying to find the best quality mate that they can because, of course, if their biology is still sound, then they are looking for the best quality mate for taking care biologically of the children that they have with this mate, a provider.
Is that true, Renee?
Right?
Is that true, Renee?
So I do because I see it a lot. So I'll tell a true story. I went to this event with my homegirl. We were sharing our room. She had introduced me to her friend. I was like, oh, you into him or whatever? And she was like, no. I was like, you sure, girl? She's like, no, we're friends. I'm like, you sure? You absolutely 100,000 million% sure you are not into this dude? Girl, I haven't talked to him since da-da-da-da. I'm not into him. So I said, okay, cool. I like him. I want to kick it with him. I want to go and talk to him. The second I said that, and this is the third thing, but the second that I said that, honey, she was all over him the entire time. I'm like, you wasn't paying this man no mind until I said I like him. So the first one is hypergamy. I am going to tell you the truth. I have a higher status in our group than she does, right? So of course, the second that she sees that somebody who is a higher status than her would like this guy, even though she thought that he was down low, the second I was like, ooh, who that is? The second she was like, oh, who is that? So that's one. He then got a higher status hypergamy and he became more feasible to her just because somebody of a higher status was more into him. Then there's also the pre-approved bias, and women do this all the time. The second that another girl showed, like another girl of a decent status that she would consider herself comparable to or maybe above her in status, and these are things that girls do psychologically, they don't even realize, it's not conscious. I promise you it's not conscious. And the second that she found out that somebody else had pre-approved of this guy, now all of a sudden he's a quality candidate when she didn't like him before.
But what that got to do with you dating him?
No, I know what she's saying. So basically, what
it wasn't compatible.
She validated the man. So once she validated the man, then now all of a sudden her girl is interested in this man again. But see, that's why I asked the question though: is that true? Because at the end of the day, you said a couple things, but one of the key things that you said was a quality man. So if we're saying that these women are hypergamous and they're going after the highest quality man, then it's like, why do so many of them end up with these bum cats?
Well, so
they're going after the highest quality men.
I have an answer for that as well.
Go ahead.
So you guys are thinking that masculinity has to do with just how much money you make or how strong your muscles are, and it does not, right?
We ain't said that. We never said that.
Well, okay, so then if that's the case, then you understand that I told you, attractiveness is subjective. It's one, proximity. The more you're around a girl, the things like that, that she'll be more likely to be attracted to you and see you as higher in her own personal eyes than she would if you were just some person that, she saw you from across the street, she doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. Right? That's one of the reasons why celebrities get as much play as they get. It could be an ugly celebrity and they get mad play, but just because this girl has seen them over and over again.
No, they get mad play because they're rich.
Which is
money look good.
Well, it does, but also money does bring a certain amount of confidence in a man as well. So another thing is the F-boy situation, I believe you're talking about. Why do they end up with the F boys?
Because
Well,
that's what they deserve.
okay. But also the F boys exude certain things that some of the nicer guys do not. A lot, you've heard the term nice guys finish last, correct?
Right.
So you're thinking like, well, I was nice to her, I pulled out her chair and all that other stuff. But then there's a certain amount of dominance, a certain amount of indifference that some of the F boys will exude that makes them feel like, okay, well, I don't have a complete rule over this guy, and they will spend time trying to have either some type of connection with him because it wasn't something that was easily gotten. Sometimes
Okay.
guys.
Oh. So while you're right there, let me ask this.
Go ahead.
Let me ask this while you're right there, because I don't want to lose it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then in that case, is it really hypergamy, right? Let me just go with me for a second. I do know that hypergamy is a thing. So I'm not saying it's not a thing. Okay. It is very much a thing. However, what I feel is happening more so in these situations, rather than hypergamy in these particular types of situations, what I think is happening is women, it's not hypergamy as much as it is women are allowing their feelings, their emotions to choose for them.
Yes.
If it was a situation where they were being hypergamous and wanting what they consider the highest quality partner, the highest quality male, the highest quality, spouse or, lover, whatever that they can get, then I would say, okay, I can understand why a woman might say, I need the best that I can get because I want this person to have a certain something going on because I want to have children with this man. I want to make sure he can take care of our family. I want to make sure he has intelligence level and whatever else I think is feedback. Yeah. Whatever else.
I got it. Go ahead.
He will need in order for our family to be successful. Like, I can actually understand that thought process, but unfortunately that's not what we're seeing, right? Like, more so what we're seeing is women are letting their feelings, their biological feelings, kind of dictate, and their thoughts dictate their decisioning, which is why the F boy has a shot, which is why a lot of times when they get knocked up by an F boy. This is why, he not quality. Y'all know he not quality. He might be confident. He might have swag. But if you're looking for the quality,
yes,
those two things do not equal quality, right? They do not equal quality. So if a woman is programmed, right? Like you were saying they're programmed. If a woman you said it's natural, it's not even something she has to think about. It's just something that sort of happens. Okay. So if that is true, then why would you even be allowing yourself to go? I'm not saying you won't be attracted to it, because attraction is attraction. Mm-hmm. Okay. But if you're thinking like he has to be the highest quality, then why are we entertaining what we know is just the fun guy, the attractive guy, the guy that can put it down in the bedroom, the guy that got swag? Like, why are these the guys that we end up choosing and saying the nice guys are going to get pushed to last because he's nice? Why are we doing that when we know that guy probably is more what we would be looking for long term than this guy that's just going to be fun for a few minutes and then he's not going to amount to much? Like, that's why for me, this is why we have to do this topic and turn it into a series. Black people are confusion. Black men and Black women. We just confused. Mm-hmm. Because I could actually get behind you being hypergamous if it means you're trying to find the best option for you, the best that you could possibly get. I can even get behind it if it was just as simple as I'm looking for the best. But that's not really what we're seeing, right? And I think that there's an internal conflict. I do agree with you that women aren't always it's not always a thought. It's more of just an instinct that women are acting on.
But it's not objective, it's subjective. Each woman has a different and the thing is, it would have worked better if each woman always had a different type of guy. Like, you know how we used to watch some shows back in the day, and there'd be a few different couples, but somehow the couples always met. Remember Living Single? Khadijah had a dude, and you knew he was perfect for Khadijah. And then Maxine had her perfect for her. And then what was it, Overton and little Sinclair and their little cute, little goofy little selves. And what would happen is they would like would say, you know, if we gave everybody like a number, which everybody gets mad at, nobody's above anyone. You know that's not true. But a 5 would end up with a 5. A 7 would end up with a 7 or something close to that. A 10 would end up with a 10. Right? Well, that would happen because if you look at their little circle, according to the show, that's who they were able to, you know, they were able to be around and be drawn to. But now with stuff like the internet and things like that, there are 3s looking at a 10, and because the 10 liked, you know, a comment on their post, they're like, oh, I probably can get this 10, and women will tend to do that. Then there's like you said, celebrities. You said it's the money, cool beans, but there's also the fame. And if this celebrity is like, oh, well, come to my room. Oh, I'm special. I came to their room. They get stuck on a Jada Pinkett highest setting. They feel like because they was able to do that, they would. So I feel like there's certain aspects of society that are making women believe that they have way more options than they do. And so instead of choosing that sweet, wonderful Overton, they're like, oh, but I think I can get Chris Brown. It's like, girl, no, you can't. You can't get Chris Brown. But for some reason in her head, because of the way the psychology works, there was, I forgot the name of the effect, but there's an effect by seeing people on a screen or seeing people on TV. Just the fact that you see them there, even if they're not even a big, huge character, makes you feel like, you know, like they're higher than they are. Right. So there's a multitude of psychological things that are happening to women that didn't used to happen before. Things like when we were talking. Oh, go ahead.
No, I agree.
Yes, you're on mute, Vince.
Vince, you
come off mute, Vince. Okay.
Women overvalue themselves, and this is what I mean.
Wow.
A successful man.
The worst.
No. Let me explain something to you. Listen, you might learn something. Men and women have different values. Women have turned into, well, my education and my money is a value to a man. And it's not. Well, let me finish. A successful man will marry a Walmart cashier if she gets on this program and if he feels like she's the right wife for him. A successful woman will never marry a Walmart cashier. Never. And be loving, nurturing, whatever you want to call it. Money will always be a problem. And the problem is you ladies have to act like you are a cashier at Walmart. You got to get off your high horse about this money and this education. Because that's the problem. Men still want the same thing. And they don't even really, you ain't got to be a 10. You ain't got to have a big booty. You ain't got to have, all you really got to be is nice and cooperative.
I'm going to call
and
Cap on that.
Appreciative to the man that you want.
Calling Cap.
You can call Cap all you want to. That's the truth.
I got receipts, though. I'm calling Cap. Because I'm going to tell you right now that a lot of stuff is. So you said that all men want, even if she don't got a big booty, this, that, and the third. And the only reason I'm going to call Cap is because women are going and doing these things. You think that it's like, you know, like I said, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? You're saying that it's women who are going and trying to get these careers and trying to get a big booty and trying to do all these things to look the right way and all that other stuff for and now out of nowhere. When the fact of the matter is, they have watched over time what men gravitate to. They're not gravitating.
No.
And I'm telling you,
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you.
Conversation with my friends.
I'm going to interrupt you.
You didn't let me. You up? No. And I'm telling you. I am telling you, I know that you want to, but that's not happening right now. And I am telling you that my friends and everybody are like, well, no, they want to go and wear their real hair and they'll do that and all this other stuff and whatnot. And not one man will pay them any type of mind. So I'm like, okay, so you really think that women just pulled this out of nowhere? You really
you-
and truly believe that women just do all the stuff that
I'm
they
gonna
do
tell you
out
where
of
they
nowhere?
pulled it out of. I'm gonna tell you where they put off trying to compete with other women. Women compete with other women for that. Men have always told you we want y'all real hair as natural as possible. Me and my wife go to beautiful vacation spots, and we see a bunch of these women with these big booties and all this hair, 5 or 6 of them, girl tripping. They think they fine as Cardi B. Ain't got a man nowhere. But then we'll see an average woman, average looking, average hair with her husband and her kids. Happens all the time. Name me one of these big booty chicks that got no husbands. They got babies. All this hair, all they get is babies. They ain't got no husbands. They getting a lot of attention and no husband. Attention don't equate to a husband. Yeah, you'll get a look. Shit, men like porn, but we ain't marrying no porn stars.
Yeah.
So let me.
What porn stars are we marrying, Renee?
Not always porn stars, but I know, what was it? T-Pain was in love with a stripper.
And he didn't marry one. He married an average looking woman, and they've been
You know
married
that
for a
though?
long time. T-Pain is married for over 20 something years, and his woman is very average looking.
So let me add some context because I've heard that before. Let me add some context. So I think the one thing that we have to establish is there is a difference between commitment and lust. Yep, and a lot of what these young ladies, some of these young ladies today are doing, it is for lust factor. Yeah, we have a lot of ladies going out, getting surgeries, doing all type of stuff because let's just be honest, some of them are trying to emulate strippers. Yeah, we have a lot of female rappers now. If you look at what they're doing, they BBLing, they fat transferring, they lip filler, they whatever else they doing. What they say, 42-inch bust downs and doing all this stuff. Yep, they're trying to emulate strippers. That's really what that is. That was the stripper body. Yep, they're emulating strippers. And I think what's getting confused is men will show attention to a woman based on lust factors. He definitely will do that. He see a little thick chick, he's going to look. Yep, some dudes do it on social media. They see some little chick in a little bathing suit with flat stomach, big booty, big chest. They might like the picture. But when it comes down... No, I'm not. Yeah, that's why I said that's because even cheating is still lust. There's still lust factor. So I know what it is. They're two different things, right? But I think what happens is if you actually watch what men do, when you have serious men who are looking to be in a committed relationship with a woman, that is not typically the type of woman they pick. Now, when they do go pick a woman to commit to, most of the time she's an average woman. And it'll probably, for him, it may be a bonus if she's the type of woman who work out all the time and she got a tight little body and all this and all that. But what women don't realize is when men are serious about committing to a woman, they'll look past all type of little stuff. Yep, little stuff that they may have seen in the past, and they like, nah, she got a little bit too much meat on her, whatever. But if he comes in contact with the white woman with the right attitude, talking right, moving right, he'd be like, nah, I ain't worried about that little weight. We'll work on that together. Me and her can go to the gym together. I'll work on that. I got to go ahead and commit and get her mind and her heart because she's the right type of woman. Yeah, so I think, once again, this particular point is a byproduct of men and women not having conversations and understanding each other. Yeah, there's a major difference. Yeah, dudes do be out here lusting. And that's one of the things that I say dudes got to work on, because I said it's a lack of discipline. But dudes be out here lusting. Yep, and then I think because this is just my perspective. I think because some of these women don't want to make the proper changes, they will pivot to that type of stuff. Yep, they'll go get a BBL because they think that that's going to attract the men and bring the men to them. They'll go get the surgeries because they think that that's going to attract the men and bring the men to them. not realizing that doesn't really work that way.
But it does work though, doesn't it? It actually works, which is why they do it. But
Works for what though?
Well, it works for the reasons you said earlier, the extreme lust. So it does work. It's very temporary, short-lived, and for some women, they make that compromise. So they get the BBLs and all these other enhancements if their career is as a stripper or an OnlyFans model, or usually somewhere in the entertainment industry, i.e., the Kardashian family. But we see the result of what happens when they lean into that. It can be profitable, and it is profitable for a lot of those women who choose that path. But that is the price that they pay. Typically, if they're lucky, they might find a man at the end of the career who will wipe them up, so to speak. So they do get wiped up, but not nearly as many. The ones who do are the ones who are highlighted, but the vast majority do not. I personally know one stripper who is now had 2 babies. But she got the whole BBL and the chest enhancements, all these other things, and try to get me. I wasn't having it, but I could see how a lot of men was into her because to the eyes of a man, she was appealing. But now that she has these kids, she's looked at a whole different way. She had to retire out of stripping because now she's too old. So now she's kind of like no husband, no present father in the home for the kids she has. Everything's messed up. But in the short term, she was getting that bank. And I know that because 10, 15 years ago, she was killing it in the game. So this is the price that they pay. If they want to go that route, then that's the bed they have to lie in. If things turn out that way, which 9 times out of 10 it does. And for the 1 time out of 10 that it doesn't, a lot of women should not aspire to look to those women and say, well, I can have my cake and eat it too. And a lot of them do, unfortunately. To me, it's sad. I think lastly, this conversation kind of went in a lot of different places. So I can't touch on every single thing. I do like Renee's thought process, but also like Vince's thought process too. There's some truth in both of what they're saying in my eyes. I do kind of disagree in the fact that in which Renee said that men were alluding to that men need a woman to be a certain way beneath them economically or in terms of education in order for a man to feel like a man. I disagree with that. However, Vince also did allude to that a woman needs to be like the Walmart cashier girl. Now, you can take that in 2 different ways. You can either say, well, he's saying that in terms of a woman's humility. Some men, that could be what they're saying. But some men have that mindset of she needs to be like a Walmart cashier girl, as in she has to have less than me. She can't be as smart as me. She can't have as much money as me. Now, I can assume that what Vince meant was the humility and the humbleness and the kindness aspect of what a Walmart female greeter would be. But some men do take the other side of things, in which, no, forget all that. I need you to be lesser than me. So there is that mindset that some men do have. I personally don't have that mindset. I would want my woman to be smart and intelligent. The only thing I would not want her to have is to try to use that over me, or use that as a sort of as a trump card, like the woman in the video that you just showed, in the sense that she believes she's so involved. If you're so involved, you wouldn't have these issues, right? Someone who is evolved would have the man that you want. If you're so evolved, you wouldn't be talking like this. Oh, we're so evolved that the men just can't get on our program. Or maybe it's the other way around. Because if you're the one complaining about it, then maybe the problem is you, right? So someone who's evolved won't have these issues. To me, that's logical. But I understand she's coming from an emotional place. But emotions won't get you very far in life. If you're relying and leaning on these things to get you somewhere like a relationship, she just needs to relax. Have your education, make all the money you want. But if you're using it to beat it over a man's head and say, well, look at me, I got all these things, a man is not going to know, he's not going to be down for that program. He's going to feel some kind of way about that. But then if you turn around and look at that man and say, well, see, it's because of the stuff I have. It's because of all the things I accomplished. No, it's because you lording it over me as if you're better than me. And you're trying to, that's not going to work for me. You should probably go find a man who's better than you, because you feel like that a man has to be better than you. So it can be an issue with a woman who achieves a lot, feels like that she can't get with a man who doesn't achieve as much. So for her, the solution would be to get a man who's better than you. I'm not saying that's the right way either. But for her, in her mind, she's thinking equality, but in reality, she wants a man who's better than her. It can be very complex, but I'll leave it at that.
But you know what, Joe? So I understand what you're saying, but you know the funny part about that is that may not even be the case, right? So that young lady who is, lording that education and that money over that man, she actually may not want the man who's doing better than her. Because see, at the end of the day, that young lady who's lording that money and that education over that man, like I said, for me, this stuff is basic. She has character flaws. Essentially, she's a controller. That's why the first opportunity she had to lord that over that man, she took it. So she's not gonna want no dude making no more than her, because then she gonna feel like he lording it over her, and she gonna have a problem with it because she wants to be the big dog. She wants to be in control, and she wants to call the shots. So yeah, you have to pay attention.
The man who makes less. So what the hell? So you don't want the man who makes less and who doesn't have as much, but you also don't want the man who makes more and does better than you in life in different ways. Then what do exactly do they want?
So let me clear that up. So she does. No, hold on. She does want the man that makes less, but she wants the man that makes less in certain situations. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Women that move like that, let's say, once again, you got to look at people's character. Women that move like that are controllers. So they want a man that they can call the shots on. They want a man that they have an upper hand on. But where it typically comes back to bite them is when they get in the presence of somebody else that's in the opposite situation. So when they get in a situation around a woman who has a man who is essentially, the breadwinner making substantially more money, now that woman will get in her feelings because she's going to be looking at that lady and her man that's doing good. And she's going to be saying, man, I wish my man was doing that. She's going to be looking over at that table when they all four of them sitting down at dinner. And when her man, when the other lady's man say, baby, what you want to eat? And she say, I want the tomahawk with the baby lobster tails. And then they ask him what he want to eat. And he say he want the tomahawk with the baked potato and the broccolini. And he want a 1738. Then she gonna look over at her husband, and then when her husband say that he want the baked
cheeseburger,
chicken, right? He want the cheeseburger, and then he asks her, do she want to split it? Then she gonna be looking at it, and she gonna be looking at that other couple like, dang, I wish my man was putting that money up like that. I wish my man was able to do that. So seeing those scenarios, she gonna have a problem with that man making less than her. But when they go back home and it's just the two of them, and she says, I want you to do this, or I want to do this, and basically he can't say nothing about it because she the one making most of the money and this and that, and she calling the shots. She like it then because she got the control. But it just really comes out when she's in situations with other people and the dynamic is flipped. That's when it's gonna bother her. That's when she's gonna start questioning her man. That's when she gonna start saying, why you don't dress like he dress? That's when she gonna start saying, you know what I'm saying? He be wearing this type of cologne. I might have to go buy you some of that type of cologne. Why you ain't already got that type of cologne? Why his clothes always look like this? She starts doing this comparison thing because now she comparing her situation to the other people. Let me just be honest, to the other people that are in the more biologically savvy dynamic.
Which is what Renee touched on earlier, right? Renee touched on that with the living color example, which I thought was excellent. But I think the issue is more exasperated because it goes beyond just what women can now see physically. Like you got the example you gave, Quay, was going to a restaurant with a friend and their significant other, and they're doing better in life than that couple or that relationship she's in with that man. That's proximity. But now you have social media. Now it's become exasperated to where now it goes beyond just what I see at the dinner table. She doesn't just get to go to the dinner table and say, oh, I wish my man could do that, and go home and say, okay, out of sight, out of mind. Now it's everywhere. She gets to see that in every aspect of society now in media. So it doesn't stop at the dinner table. It goes back home. So now this man has to be better than this man that she saw on Instagram who has a billion followers that most men can never amount to. This man who's a Chris Brown or Denzel or whatever. She's seeing a lot more of that. So the proverbial dinner table is now is being taken home with these women today. And they see that compare and contrast, which I think is natural. It is natural. But then it's just become hijacked and manipulated. And so now it's like you got to have all this. But the irony is that you're not anywhere close to the kind of woman that this man that you want or that you're comparing your man to would even be checking for, which is crazy. But in your mind, you think it's possible. So then you'll pay $1,000 to go see Chris Brown and he do some things and you think you got a shot. No, you're paying him to fund his lifestyle, to do his thing, so he can continue give you the fantasy that is going to be a reality, but it never will be. So that's just my stance.
No, that's real right there. Coco, you want to say something?
I was just going to say that goes back to my original point, though, right? So then is this a him thing or a her thing? Because I think that we have effectively proven just through the conversation that it's not necessarily the way he feels about his situation. It's the way she feels about his situation. Because the men in these scenarios are not thinking about how their situations stack up, right? In that sense, right? He's not going, oh man, I wish I could buy the tomahawk steak. Right? Because my experience with the men around me and the men that I've come in contact with, and even the men that have had these conversations and I've been privy to the conversations, these men are where they are and they understand where they are. And I see that a lot of men kind of, they take a look at their lives. I think men are pretty good at evaluating sort of where they are. Men are a little bit better at being honest with themselves than we are as women. So they'll recognize that they're deficient. It's just, do they then decide to do something about the deficiency? Or do they say, no, you know what? I'm good where I'm at. I know I could be doing better. Or I know I'm fat. I don't want to do nothing about this fat because I don't feel like going to the gym. So I guess I'm just going to find me a fat wife and we just going to be fat together.
Exactly.
That's what men will do.
They said
that's what men will do. But a woman will say, well, I might be a little, she ain't gonna say fat, by the way. I'm a little thick. I might be a little thick, but I like my thick and I'm good with my thick. I'm okay with myself. Okay. But I'm not about to date a man unless he this, and he this, and he this. Now I'm not speaking for every woman because I can't. I'm speaking for the average. This is a general, assessment. All right. And this is what we'll do as women, right? We aren't always as realistic about our situation as men are. So a lot of times men that are in that scenario that Quay just gave, they'll be like, look, this is my situation. This where I'm at. I earn this. This is how I stack up. This is my stats, right? Either I'm okay with this and I'm gonna rock with it, or I'm not, and I'm gonna do what I need to do. If that man has decided he's okay with where he's at, he's comfortable, he's content with where he's at, you making more money than him is not going to bother him because he is decided that he's good. I'm good. See, men are not, they not like that, like we are. They don't care how many men walk by them with Rolexes on. If they are okay with where they are, they're not going to compare themselves to them men and go, oh, they not doing that. We do that because we be in our feelings. We do that. So we'll see a woman that we think might be doing better. We're like, oh, dang, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that, or how she do that, how she doing that. We're doing that. That comes from our emotional nature, right? We in our feelings. Let's just be for real. That's why we're such consumers. It feeds something in us. right? That men don't necessarily need that same gratification. That's not how they get their dopamine rush. That's not how they get it. They don't get it the same way we get ours. So they don't need that. So in these scenarios, it's not the men that are feeling intimidated by their situation and feeling less than by their situations. It's the women. It's us. So I'll say this again. I think in a lot of these scenarios, obviously, it's not every single situation. But I think in a lot of these scenarios, it's the women that feel some type of way about being with a man that they feel like they're doing better than. In whatever way, it could be education, it could be finances, whatever it is. If they feel like they're doing better than that man in these particular areas or in this specific area, she's the one that's going to start to feel some way about it well before he even gets that thought. She's the one that's going to do it. Well before he even thinks about it, she's going to have already thought about it, stewed about it, go talk to her girlfriends about it, wrote a book, wrote a diary, went to TikTok about it. She's going to be the one. Her. Now, she can project her insecurity onto him. That can happen. But she's the one that's going to feel like that. It's not going to be him. So we have to be real. If a woman is thinking she's evolved past her man, here it is. Is it that you have evolved, really, truly evolved?
Or that you got your level, you got your match.
You feel like based off you've done an assessment of your life and where you are, and you feel like the thick chick that don't understand she thick. I'm not even trying to be rude or mean or nothing. I'm being honest. Like, are you the thick chick that don't understand that it's not really thick? It's not really what it is, baby girl. It's not thick. Right? Like you barking on the door of hypertension and diabetes. It's not thick. I'm being so serious. I'm not trying to be funny with nobody because this is serious. It's not thick. And I think sometimes as women, we make excuses and we do an assessment, but we kind of pretty it up a little bit. We put a filter on it. And I think that's what's happening. So you saying to me, you're involved in past men, but did you put a filter on that? Is that really the situation?
Right.
I got one question, Coco. I do got one question.
Go ahead, Joe. Then I got a question. I got to put my calls to the panel. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So Coco, do you think that the women who do like what the woman did in that video and say that they're involved past a certain kind of man, but they're with the kind of man that they feel they evolved past from, that in reality they are actually level with that man, but they don't want to accept that they're with the man that they think they're evolved past from? So it's kind of like a denial. Like, you are where they actually are, but you think you're so much better, but you wouldn't be with that man if... Okay, so I guess I got my answer.
Yeah, exactly. And men do it too. There are some men that'll be like, oh, and I've heard this from men who've had baby mamas, like then they'll go back and be like, I can't believe I had a woman with this chick, I baby with this chick, and she this, she that, and all of a sudden she all of these things. And it's like, but you were with her. You had a baby with her. So like, we're not gonna put all the women, men do it too in different ways.
They do. Yeah, they do.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. Don't try to dog her now. The reason why you was with her and had a baby with her because you was where she at. You looking down your nose now because you done moved on. Right. And maybe you done moved on and you done got another chick and maybe she's a little bit better. And so you feel like, oh, I can't believe I stepped down. You didn't step down. You didn't step down. No, friend. That's where you was at. You was right there. Y'all was neck and neck. So let's just be for real, right? So just like women can do it, men can do it too.
Yeah, no, that's valid. No, that's a valid point because fellas do be out here doing that nonsense. And I'm like, bro, that was your whole lady. Like, don't try to play that game now. But I gotta ask this question as I get ready to take us out of here because we're getting around that time. I'm gonna start this out with Renee because I think this is a very valid example that she provided earlier, and it actually tells a great, or it shows a Y'all just say it shows our evolution. I don't know if it's in a good way though. So Renee, you gave an example earlier of living single. Yeah, man, you talked about Maxine and Overton, and
Love that song.
you talked about the crew and how the crew was able to get with their, they person and get into their little relationships. And Max was, she was with old boy, and Overton, he had his little girl, and it was easy. How do we, in your opinion, how do we get back to that? Because that whole living single scenario, that's what things used to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't just proximity. That was how people used to move as people. Yeah, they used to see other folks, that was doing what they do. They would go engage, have some conversation, somebody might pull out. I think back then it was notepads or a beeper. But you pull your little stuff out, get your pager out, get your little SkyTel, whatever you had back then. But you get your little number, you call it back. If it was from the house phone or the pay phone, whatever you had to, whatever you was calling on. But the process and the connections looked totally different. They looked more like living single. If it looked more like Overton and his girl, it looked more like Max and her guy. That's what it used to look like. So when you compare living single to today, we see the disarray of today. So in your opinion, how do we get back to living single? How do we get back to that as a people, as Black folks? How do we get back to that?
Good question.
I would say the toughest part is...
Take a minute. Go and process that, because I need to understand that, because that's really where we need to get to. Tell me how we get back there.
So I think about, so let's look at some of the aspects of their situation. One, the type of friendships and relationships that women have with other women was different. They would never step on each other's toes. This is nowadays where girls would step right on each other's toes. It's a very dog-eat-dog world. I would say I'm going to go and look at Sinclair was the easiest one. She was just a sweet little, adorable little goof, just as sweet and kind and adorable and sweet. So she was the easiest one. So Overton, he had, I won't lie, the way they portrayed everything. And again, because they wrote a script, so of course they created what they wanted. But Overton still had a very highly masculine job. He was an expert in his field, and she was able to be impressed by him. Then we go and we look at how a Maxine would not be impressed by that, right? Mm-hmm. But then it took a Kyle, who was the single most arrogant, to outdo her arrogant. Every single one of the men they found, as powerful as they were, was able to subdue her. And when I say subdue, I don't just mean like, Kyle was arrogant. I mean, I'm pretty sure, and I'm about to say something that is not the PGest thing I could say. I'm pretty sure backs were getting blown out. And and one of the things that a lot of men who are doing having these amazing careers and whatnot are forgetting that evolution states that if thou can bloweth thine back out, it don't even matter who's paying for dinner.
It's true.
That's
You can't make this shit up.
Boys.
That's not. I don't. But
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that that's all things. Because Vince, I'm sorry, I hit dog on holler, so I would suggest.
No. What I'm saying is that it's just like a man with money. No, it's just like a man with money. If you don't have other things, it's not gonna last. That black back blowing out only lasts until them bills come.
Well, that's the thing, as I just said, if she had the money to pay those bills, she wouldn't be too mad.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, and that's why I said when you asked me, and I'm telling you, with the status that Overton had, he was a big, strong man with a quality and job expertise in his field. He could fix anything. She was very much impressed by him. Even if the thing is, we don't even know how much money this girl made. All we know is that she was impressed by him. Her man, my man, my man. She was impressed by my man, my man. Khadijah had her own I own this whole company. And yet her man, she's like, oh, he had her feeling all giddy and stuff. My man's coming. They were able to exude enough masculinity in these women's life, no matter what their career status was, that had her feeling like giggles and my man's coming. No matter how high their status was. So when I hear you guys say these things about these women, oh, this, that, and the third, I'm like, yes. So who's daring her down right quick and letting her know this is why I'm a man? Because it don't matter. Oh, you made all this money? Come here. It's like, okay, all right. I mean, if you said to come here, I guess I better come here. Type shit. And I don't think you guys, that's why I keep telling y'all, like, the money thing is a thing, but you have to make her admire you. My homeboy was like, nah, he disagreed with me. And I said, I can prove this, and I can prove this in one word, or technically a word I'm not supposed to say. Prince. He was an expert in his field. He was wearing high heels and assless chaps and was getting more than probably everybody on this panel combined. Okay, easily. With high heels and quarter cheeks hanging out his pants. Okay? He was an expert in his field. Yes, he made a lot of money, but again, it was something that she could look up to. Even if he had to wear high heels to do it. A woman just wants to look up to her man. If this was a man who may not have had a good job, one of the reasons why they end up with some of the F-boys, like think about the F-boy who plays the guitar and he's really, really good at it. He may not be famous, but it's like, oh, wow. He's such an amazing expert at that. She's able to look up to him in some way.
So, okay. So I think you make a valid point, right? So I think, you are right. Women do want to look up to their men. Is the problem, though, that what they look up to has changed? Because, see, at the end of the day, let me just be honest about it, Renee, which is why I wanted to ask you, how do we get back to living single? Yep, in 2026, Overton gets no hollers. Let me just keep it a buck. Yep, this manly, masculine, jack of all trades, Overton, he don't get no hollers in 2026. Because he was just an average man. He was an average earner, staying in an apartment.
Nice guy.
A nice guy. That dude don't get hollers today. That's the nice guy that finished last today. So this is why I was asking you, how do we get back to the point where a woman appreciates and respects an Overton? Because see, Overton don't get no hollers today. Regardless if he jack of all trade, regardless if he know how to fix something, he don't get the hollers today because he don't even meet the salary requirements that we see circulating. So that's really why I asked that question. Go ahead, Coco. I see you want to get in. Go ahead.
Is that true?
He doesn't.
That's not
true. Yeah, it is.
It's very not, and it's the same way y'all just said.
Yeah,
you guys don't go after the girl with the BBLs and the bodies and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Really see. You see that those guys ain't getting play, right? You see that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if that man exuded the same amount of confidence as a multi-million-dollar man and walked up to her and said, hey, so you know what? You're beautiful, and I'm gonna take you out this weekend. No woman that's beautiful as you should not be doing anything this weekend. Meet me at this place at this time wearing this pretty outfit. I'll send it to you. And I will be there. It's not about how much he has. It's about the confidence that he has.
So
Renee,
respectfully, Overton does not have the confidence.
Respectfully,
you want, but you can say that an Overton doesn't get plays because he doesn't have the confidence, not the money.
So that's weird. I'm gonna say, you know why that's weird? Because you just gave us everything about Overton that would make him fit the bill and why he was so special and why he could get her to go, my man. You just did that, right? You wasn't saying nothing about his lack of confidence. He didn't have the confidence. He didn't have the swag. He didn't have the whatever. So now we're saying in 2026, he would not get that play. He wouldn't. And Overton didn't lack confidence. He didn't lack confidence. He was very confident because he could put Sinclair in check when he needed to put Sinclair in check.
Exactly.
So it was not. It was
not.
It,
And not
it
even
was not that.
Men of today are told not to.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Where I'm going with this. He could, because the same level of confidence he had then, he would bring that level of confidence into 2026. And what we're saying to you is that women have changed. That's the difference. And the reason why I keep talking about women is because I'm a woman. So of course I'm going to talk about women. I can only say so much about men because I'm not a man, but I am a woman. Women have changed. We have changed. And I don't know why we won't own that. I don't know why women won't own the fact that we have changed. You just had a lady say we've evolved, but we won't own the fact that that means we've changed. We have changed. We don't accept the same thing we used to accept. We don't appreciate the same thing we used to say we appreciate. We don't even look the same way we used to look. Now we want to look like drag queens. We don't even want to look like feminine women anymore. Can I please can we just please be so for real? And this is not directed to Renee, by the way. This is just my personal rant about what I see going on. We have absolutely changed. So when we want to talk about we've evolved, nobody wants to talk about the ways in which we have evolved that have not been good. We only want to talk about, well, women, we're more educated. That's great. Oh, we have careers now that we couldn't have before. That's also great. But why aren't we ready to talk about the things the ways in which we change that haven't been so great? Do we really think that women have evolved in only good ways? Do we really think that all the changes that we have made have all been good and positive for the community? Do we really think that? We really live in a delusion, huh? Like, this is crazy. The reason why Overton wouldn't get any play now is the same reason why we keep asking women all around, will they date a bus driver? And they say no. It's the same thing. We just touched on hypergamy earlier.
But men are not lonely.
We just admitted that women do have this in them.
Yes.
That they do have this. It is a part of their nature. So if that's true, then no, in 2026, with the way women have evolved, Overton ain't getting no play. He not. And the man that Khadijah was wish he wouldn't get any either. And the one that Maxine was with might get a little something because he did have some money. So there is that. Like, I hear what you saying, Renee, but
I feel like you didn't hear what I said. I described it.
That's probably how you feel. You may very well feel that way. But when we see a lot of women speaking on this topic, they are saying some things that contradict the way you feel about it and the way what you have expressed about it. Okay. They are saying things that contradict you. They are saying that, yeah, he got to have some swag. Yeah, he got to have confidence, but he also got to have a bag too.
Okay.
Yeah, he got to have a bag too. We cannot ignore that, act like women are not saying that. We cannot, because they want him to be able to come with the bag, right? Because they got a bag.
I have a question.
He most definitely got to have a bag. He most definitely has to.
So I have a question for the men.
She even talked about it in the video. It's one of the ways in which men are not evolving, right? She said men are not evolving. So they care about that. Women do care about that.
So for the men, right? Now let's point this at your daughter. You have a sweet, beautiful daughter who you have figured out a way to get her into college. And you're like, because, she's smart. She's absolutely beautiful. She looked just like her mama. That's why you married her mama, because her mama is everything and all of this. Mm-hmm. And you've gotten her into college, right? And you're giving your daughter advice. Your daughter has done something to build her own career and is making, say, I don't know, $200 a year, right? She's doing doggone well. My sweet pea, your little honey bunch. And an Overton, who you don't know whether or not she can trust him or not or whatever, is sniffing around her. Do you expect your sweet baby, your daughter, your own real daughter, to go and get with Overton, who's a nice roundaway guy. You don't know anything about him. Now, again, if you knew, like, no, that's, Jim's boy, I know Jim raised his son right, of course you would condone it. Because, like I said, there's that thing where because you're in proximity and you know stuff about him and community type thing, yeah, you recommend it. But if you knew nothing about this young man who's making, let's say he's making a good 80, that's decent. Would you recommend your $200,000 a year daughter? Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Is that me?
I couldn't hear. What did she say?
She said
Coco, it's who?
Feedback.
I didn't hear it. Everybody, just go on mute, except for Renee. And then I know Vince is about to respond to you, Renee. Go ahead and finish your question, Renee. I think Vince is about to respond to you. Go ahead.
But yes, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're being all realistic, because one of the hardest things here is when we're having these conversations, right? And people may be having a cognitive dissonance that they don't realize, right? And because these are made up scenarios, every single one of us can go and switch the scenario to whatever we want it to be. So I'm saying, if you were saying your daughter, you went and you did everything it took to make sure she got a good education, nobody can take advantage of her. If anything were to go wrong, even if you were to go, she could take care of herself and all of these things. That's to make sure she's safe. Not to make sure she's educated, not to make sure she's above another man, but to make sure she's safe. Would you actually recommend this man you don't know anything about? Would you actually recommend him get with this, like I said, maybe 50, 60, 70, 80, but she's making 200?
I'll answer that. But
go ahead, Vince. Go ahead.
We have to say, what are we talking about? Are we talking about marriage? You talk about getting with. I talk about marriage, period. And I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. I also have a 36-year-old daughter who don't listen to nothing I say. So I'm about to be 100. But my 5-year-old was born in marriage. She's going to see her father love her mother and protect her mother and provide for her and her mother in the same household. So she's going to have the different experience of a man. So she'll probably want to get married sooner. She'll probably find her husband probably.
That wasn't the question I asked, though. I said, I gave the scenario, would you recommend?
He just froze. Hold on.
Oh,
okay. So
there you go.
And then
you answer the question I actually asked, though, because like I said, I just pointed this out ahead of time.
Your question,
I had a feeling. I said, if you had a daughter who was making 200 a year, she had pushed herself through her career, and that's what she did. Would you recommend your sweet daughter to do that? You created a whole other situation. What you'd say, okay?
No. You
then answer that question, please.
But the question that you're asking is not a good question for what I'm talking about. My daughter wouldn't marry. Hopefully, as I'm raising her, she wouldn't marry a man that I don't know. Now, my oldest daughter, yeah, probably. Yeah.
You would recommend her do that?
I would if I knew him and I thought he was a good person, and if you made 80, well, she would marry somebody I don't know, because I raised her.
So then, again, these women are out here meeting men they don't know.
These women don't have.
You gotta get to know them, though.
And these women
that's
do
what
not.
I'm saying.
No, these women
so
do
what
not
are you
have
talking
fathers.
about?
No,
that's why I tried to get.
No, hold on,
Renee,
let me.
You're trying to say when I let her marry a man.
Let me say it, Vince. The question that she's asking is, if your daughter was making 200,000, would you recommend a man to her? Would you recommend that she marry a man that's making $80,000? Let me just keep it straight to the point. She making 200, he making 80. Do you see that as a good marriage scenario for your daughter or not?
I think for me, I think
that has so because I know people who wives make way more than their husbands and they have a beautiful marriage. So
I think that,
now I would say it's going to be challenging for her. What I would tell my daughter is find him before you make the 200 and y'all build together, because then your respect and love will be more for him just because of his income. And that's why I think women have a problem, because they wait until they're 35 and 40. They got these big old careers, these big old house notes, and a kid, now you gotta have a man that make 100,000 because you won't respect them. But if he built with you, if he was sitting up there helping you read them books and helping you get that past that MCAT or whatever, you have more respect and appreciation for you because y'all did it together. The problem is we are doing these things separate, building our own lives instead of building a life together. So I think that's the, and if we can go back to living single, they were young. They didn't have no babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
So I think we have to get,
Okay.
I think if we want marriage, I think we had to do like other people do. They get married young. They get married right out of college. They get married 24, 25. They ain't surgeons yet. They might be in their residency. So your respect and reverence for a person don't depend. And I know somebody personally who makes 4 or 5 times as much as her husband. But you know what? When they were in business school at Michigan, she says she says the story. He let me use his car and he drove the bus. So I don't care how much I make. It's our money. And she carries it like that. You would even know she makes his plate. She don't feel well, I'm a big, and she's a big wig. She's big. And her husband, he ain't no slouch, but you know what I'm saying? So they built it together. So I think that's the main problem. So I understand a lot of women who are in a predicament where they have a certain amount and they just won't respect a man that don't. I get it. I really do get it. So I think we need to find. I think we can get. I think we need to do it younger. And you know what? If she was already making 200,000 and he made 80, probably ain't gonna work. So I would say no. So that answers your question.
I have an issue with I have an issue not that you asked the question. I have an issue that unfortunately this is the narrative that we're faced with, because we will say, would you advise your daughter? We would say, would you advise your daughter to marry a man that's making 80K, she's making 200,000? But we would, you notice we went to daughter, like we wouldn't even ask us about a man if it was my son. So if it was my son, let me get it out. Let me get it out. Let me get it out.
I was gonna ask it after.
Let me get it out. That wasn't where we went though. And there's a reason why. Like what my husband was saying earlier, it's very telling the way people say stuff. You got to watch it. It matters. The reason why we went instantly to daughter is because we absolutely will expect without question for a young man to take, marry, date, entertain a woman that makes less than him. It shouldn't even be a problem. It shouldn't even be a question. It shouldn't even, why would we even be talking about that? Like, what does it matter? That's the way it should be, right? That's the way it should be. So it's crazy to me, right? Like, to me, this conversation just came full circle, and this is the problem. This is why women feel like they've evolved. Men have been making more than women forever. And as much progress as Black women have made, they still not out earning their men on average. They still not. Because that's just not the way society is set up. And you can fight that all you want to, but it's just not. And as long as men are the ones who have to take care of the families and be these protectors and providers that you guys want, because that's what y'all want. See, y'all want to evolve, but y'all want men to go backwards. And that's crazy to me. We can say as women, oh, we've evolved, we've progressed. But y'all want men to stay stuck in where protecting and providing looks like him just bringing you home his check and handing it over to you. Oh, that's really what it is. That's really what y'all want. So y'all want men to evolve, but that's a lies cap. It always has been. You don't want men to evolve. You just want men to do whatever you want them to do when you want them to do it, how you want them to do it. Let's be so for real. Y'all don't have a problem. And men, you haven't evolved past men. Men are just no longer playing along to the beat of your drum. They just not. Yeah, these men, they like, nope, we don't want it. And not that I agree with this, not that I co-sign it, not that I think it's right, but they just like, we'll just Pornhub it. They not lonely. Ain't no male loneliness epidemic. Are y'all crazy? Because anytime they want, they could throw some money at a chick, and it might not be, Renee might not roll like that, but they could throw some money at a chick and she'll go home with them. They not lonely. They're only lonely if they want to be. Men choose to be lonely because they want to be alone. There's no male loneliness epidemic. Do you know how quick they can get a chick? All they gotta be willing to do is spend a little bit of money
and blow their back out.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Amen.
But what I'm saying, did we just play a video last week where the dude was like, all he gotta do is $200 twice a week, and he good? $200 twice a week, and he good. Men do not have to be alone. That's the difference. But women, oh yeah, y'all gonna be alone. Because this attitude has got to stop. It's got to stop. No, the ones that's acting like that, Renee, will end up being alone. They will. With that attitude, I'm not talking about you, but with that attitude, if that's the attitude that they are carrying, it's going to be very difficult for them to find a man that's going to want to stay with them. They can get a one night here, there, but getting a man to stay with them,
they're getting the one night.
Getting a man to stay with them, getting a man to stay with them, marry them, and make them a wife. That is going to be very difficult for them because of that attitude. And that's just is what it is, because a man is the one that's going to choose whether or not he's going to make you a wife or not. So I think it's crazy to me that we're having this conversation after she just said women have evolved. And it's just giving that women want to be able to make all of these strides. They want to be able to make all of these advancements, but they want men to continue to stay the same. That's really all it is. I don't know what happened to the men that just used to go to work and shut up. What happened to the men? Remember when men didn't used to talk? They used to just be quiet and pay the bills. What happened to that?
Wait, I thought that was the men's talking point.
These are all.
Not say anything.
No, ma'am. These are all videos we have personally reacted to.
Yeah, we've seen that video.
Personally, where they're like, "Why men won't just shut up and just go to work?" Like, what's wrong with the men? Why don't they used to do this and they used to do used to? I thought y'all said y'all wanted the men to evolve. I thought y'all said y'all wanted growth, right? So what's the problem? This is crazy to me. It's just like, this is why Black people are confusion. This is why we say this. This will probably have 100 parts to it. This is why. We don't know if we coming or going, up or down. But then we can get on a video and say we're evolving.
So I think I might have a slightly better answer now. I think I liked what Coco said. But what would incentivize women to want to do the things to be in these relationships? Because I promise you, it seems like, and like I said, seems like the ability to be able to take care of yourself, not depend on anyone. And I want to say it's a feeling of safety. And that's what they were usually, according to a lot of my friends, that's what they're looking for from their man, as a feeling of safety. So being able to take care of themselves and not having to go, oh, please, may I have some more, to some man to ask them for something, it makes them feel a little degraded, and it makes them feel unsafe. Because if the man decides he doesn't want to, then now she's without. So like, well, what would incentivize women to feel like they'd be safer or better in, like I said, like some type of subservience, submission type roles and things like that with a man in these types of relationships? Because that's what I'm telling you, I believe they see it as. They see it as like a subservience to a man as opposed to like a real relationship. What can we do to show them a little bit more incentivization towards marriage?
Hey, Renee, I'm going to be transparent on this one. I don't know. I told this story before. I have a 36-year-old daughter, so I had her very young. One day, and I was a single father, I have a 36-year-old and a 30 from my high school sweetheart. So they would come and I would cook, or sometimes my mother would be at my home, and one time my daughter, who was about 13, 14, made my plate and brung it to me. And my mother told her, don't be making no man's plate. Your daddy can make his own plate. And so I had to pull my mother to the side and check the fuck out of my mama. I was like, if anybody's plate she should be making is the man that's taking care of her. And my mother, because she was traumatized, her daddy wasn't shit. My daddy wasn't shit. She never had a man. Oh, well, I just don't want her to be feeling like she got to make a man's play. I said, no, what we need to be teaching her is how to make a play for the right man. And that's the problem. Y'all don't know how to pick the right man because you never had the right man. Y'all picking them on giggly feelings and blowing your back out instead of a man of his word, instead of a man of God, a man of character, a man of morals. That's the problem that you even would say, oh, it's subservient. Yes, marriage is service. I serve my wife. I serve her every day, going to work and making sure everything is paid. And she serves me. I don't make my own plates. She loves making but you know what she had? She had a mother who was a wife. And she had a father who worked at Ford for 30 years that took care of her. So a lot of this is our trauma mindset that I don't know if we'll be able to get, because for you to even ask that question, they need men because that's what we were born for. We were born to be together. We were made for each other. How can we continue the culture if we don't get together? That's why I don't understand. We talking about all this generational wealth how are we going to do that if 70% of us are getting divorced? 80% of our children are born out of wedlock. We have no wealth. You're not going to get it as an individual.
So you? Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm. But I understand it. You can't really. That's why me and my wife, we are so in tune with each other. We're so dedicated to our marriage and dedicated to our kids because we did it the other way. I had one child out of wedlock. I shotgun married her mama because she was pregnant with my son, and it lasted for 2 years. And I was a single father for 20 some odd years. So yes, my oldest daughter will not have the same value for a man as a husband, even though I took care of her. But she saw a decent father, but she didn't see a husband. She didn't see the man that loved her mother. My kids don't even understand how me and my ex-wife got together. So they've never had that connection that me and my wife are going to show our children. So they'll want to be married. You know how many, and it's so sad because all my neighbors, are your kids married yet? Got any grandkids? Because they know I got older kids. The kids married yet? And their kids 24, 25. And they got real much, since we like to talk about black women got so much money, and their daughters are, not estheticians, are doctors, nurses, lawyers, getting married at 23, 24 because they understand the value of marriage and the value of covenant in the family. For you to even say, well, it's subservient, what's the need? Because that's what we were made for. And we want the fruit without the root. We want the fruit, but we don't want the root of the thing. And that's why it's never worked, because the fruit ain't rooted. So it's really sad to hear you say that, Renee. Like, it's gotten to a point where we don't even need each other. But we'll have these babies, though. Will you say that to the same woman that will say, how about the kids? Kids don't need no daddy? Oh, well, we can co-parent, right?
Yeah. Look, Renee, I know you posed that question. Just want to get a response from you, then we'll take some closing and get out of here. I know you posed that question. You were saying that, what's the incentive for that young lady to, put herself in this wifely position? What I guess my question would be, what incentive are the ladies looking for? Like, I know you're saying that this is, some people that or, some friends, however you want to define it. But what are they looking for from these men to, I guess, to be their wife? Like, what are they looking for?
So I would say the majority of the women that have expressed certain feelings to me, it's been different actual scenarios, but I would say that the baseline is safety. They're afraid. They're afraid not to take control of everything because in this world, there's so many things always coming against the black woman on a regular basis. And so it's like the same way a man is like, well, wait, who's driving? Nah, it's okay, I'll drive. Because like, shoot, you a good driver. So it's like, nah, I'ma drive. Even if you were drinking with some buddies, you'd probably be more likely to be like, nah, because I know exactly how drunk I am. I don't know exactly how drunk, you know what I mean? So you'd want to like kind of take the wheel. And I think a lot of women, and like I said, and you could say it's sad, but I'm just telling you where they're coming from. They're kind of scared.
I get it. I get it.
I have a client recently who had told me she got some man who he been talking to her nice, and she had gotten out of what she said was a bad divorce. And she showed me a message. She said, "Oh, I just told him how I was thinking of him today and how nice it was. Like the thought of him makes me smile." And she's like, "I don't really say that, but there's something about him that had me telling him how the thought of him just makes me smile." And then when he replied, "Oh, that was so nice of you. That's one of the best compliments I could get." And I was like, "Y'all so cute and sweet and adorable." But with something about the safety that she ended up feeling with this particular man after the unsafety that she felt with other ones, that she just got extra feminine. So I feel like a lot of women, and I get it, it's sad, but it's the truth. They're very scared. They're so afraid to not take the wheel because there are a lot of men out there that ain't sugar honey iced tea, or just maybe, and the thing is, maybe they're not even, like, say, they haven't hit their maturity level. Because there's men who was out here like, well, shoot, I mean, I'm young and it's fun and da-da-da-da. And who, what is it, the sowing your royal oats in Zamunda type thing? And it makes sense. But then if these women have come across this man who's, just not in the realm of really being ready, he's so young that he might, cause such a problem. One of those is she's thinking maybe that, he's somebody who could have her heart because he might know the right things to say. And then she ends up with a kid, and now she's absolutely nothing to every other man because she had made that mistake with this gentleman. So like I said, it's just a lot of fear. I want to know, like, how can we start showing women? And I've been trying a lot to tell a lot of my friends and stuff, like, girl, listen, like, I've been getting them on dating apps. Just date. Have a good conversation with a wonderful gentleman. Well, I don't like the way he looks. I'm like, girl, he might not like the way you look. Girl, if you don't swipe right, and just have a conversation with this gentleman. Find out what he's trying to achieve in his life. You might be trying to buy a house, girl. He might build them. Like these types of things, but they're very, very afraid.
I got you.
And in that very scared mind frame, it is very hard to be feminine. And so, how can we incentivize them to believe that marriage is going to be way safer than no marriage?
I got you. So, just based on that, Renee, just being honest, those girls, they probably just need to stay by themselves.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, their mindset is not even correct. Mm-hmm. Yep, they don't understand purpose. Yep, if you are scared to the point where you are apprehensive about entering a marriage unless some man shows you some incentive, you probably just need to stay by yourself.
Right.
And that's just being honest. Because see, at the end of the day, let me just be blunt about it. Everybody ain't ready. Yep, and everybody can't come. And that I'm just keeping it a buck, because that's one thing that we got to realize. Everybody is not going to be married. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be, because everybody don't have the right mindset. Mm-hmm. Yep, I continue to hear that type of narrative circulating around. Mm-hmm. Yep, everything has become about a man impressing a woman. Mm-hmm. This man always has to show this woman that he's worthy and what he can provide and how he's going to protect, and if he can lead and if he can take care of it. He's got to impress this woman with all these things. Mm-hmm. But I'm just being honest. Rarely do I hear or see videos of women talking about how they're impressing men. I rarely ever hear that. The only time that I hear that is when they're speaking about their education, when they speaking about their money, when they talking about something physical about a body.
But nothing impresses a man. There's zero things that impress a man other than a woman shutting up and being subservient.
How you gonna let a man? How you gonna say that to a man without asking a man?
No, that's not true.
So then, what impresses a man? Because you're saying they're trying their hardest to try to impress a man. What they're doing is
no, they're not. No, they are not. You know why? You know why? No, they're not.
Let me add some clarity. Let me add some clarity. So they're not trying their hardest to impress a man. They're trying to attract men.
Yes,
that's not the same. See, we got to establish the context. Attracting a man, that's easy. Yeah, you can put on the right outfit and attract a man. But impressing a man is totally different things. Now, when we talk about impressing a man, typically it's not even the stuff that women do. Yep, and what I mean by that is it's not the stuff that women think impresses men. Yeah, Vince mentioned one earlier. He just said, be nice. That's very impressive to a man.
Smile.
Yep. Yeah, smile. That's very impressive to a man. You know what I'm saying? Show this man some of your nurturing qualities. That's very impressive to a man. Know how to support a man when he's at a low point. That's very impressive to a man. You know how to speak life over a man when he don't expect it. That's very impressive to a man. Yeah, but BBL is not impressive to a man. It'll get you some lust attention, but it's not going to impress a man. Yep, and just based on that scenario, that's a lot of why we can't get these relationships together. Yeah, this impression thing is not one-sided. Yep, it's never going to work if all we're ever talking about is how a man can impress a woman. Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
They so scared, but they ain't scared to live with a man. They ain't scared to have a bunch of his babies, but they scared of marriage, though. They scared of marriage, but they ain't scared to have a child, which is a lifelong commitment.
Can I add one?
How many of them same women got kids? Renee,
can I add
how many
one?
Same women got kids?
Before we go past that point, it's one that y'all didn't say, and y'all not gonna say it because y'all men, but I'm gonna say it. We always capitalize on women being safe, but another thing that impresses men, and they'll never say this because men don't know how to ask for this, make him feel safe. Be his safe space. Because we always capitalize on how women need to feel safe. Men want to feel safe too. Men have a lot. Men have a lot to lose in a marriage. Men can lose a lot if they tie themselves to the wrong woman.
Oh my
they also have a lot to lose. They lose. We don't talk about it enough, but men have a lot to lose if they tie themselves to a wrong woman. They have a lot. So make them feel safe. We don't have that conversation. We just got out of men's mental health month. Make that man feel safe. Like, why are we focusing on that?
We're not allowed to feel safe because we're supposed to be men. We're supposed to be stoic. We're supposed to be pillars of society. We're supposed to be basically kind of emotionless. We're supposed to be the ones giving the safety, giving the provision, giving everything, but expecting nothing in return. That's what's expected of us in this American society.
But I think that's what separates. I agree. But I think that's what separates. When Donovan earlier was talking about how you tell a wife, and he was talking about devotion, and I know we kind of missed it a little bit. We didn't get a chance to like really dive into that. But like, there are certain characteristics of a woman that separate a wife, from a woman that's not wife material. There are women out here that they said, I just want to be married. I want to be married. But I listen to these women and I go, you're not a wife. You are not ready. You are not ready to do what you need to do to be in a marriage. You're not ready. You're ready for the wedding. You might be ready for the ring. You might be ready to buy a house together. You might be ready to do that stuff. You're not ready to be a wife. You're not, because your whole mindset should be different, right? Like, I'm not you. Of course, you're supposed to care about being safe. A man should provide you with safety, but you should also know how important it is to be a safe space for him too, a safe space to land. And when men start talking about peace and wanting their women to be their peace, a lot of times that's how they'll describe that. And women will get all up in arms about that, like, I'm not supposed to be your peace. That's not my job. And it's like, no, yeah, you are. That's why you're feminine.
I agree with that.
You're supposed to be his soft place to land. When he's out there battling the world, he's not supposed to have to be battling you. You're supposed to be the one constant thing in his life that he can depend on, rely on, and know that you'll be there to support him. When life is kicking his butt and he's going through things, that doesn't mean that I'm saying you gotta prop him up and you gotta grow him up, and no, he should still be able to stand on his own 2 feet. That's not what I'm saying. When I say be his peace, I mean be his support. I mean be a soft place for him to land. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he don't need you to listen to him vent like how we like to vent to our men.
Yes.
Maybe he just wants you to be available to him though. Just be around. You know what I'm saying? Know that he's tired. Maybe he just need a little back rub, scratch his head, rub his scalp. You know what I'm saying? Just comfort, nurturing. That's what they're looking for. And I don't believe that a man has to do anything to bring that out of you. I do believe that obviously, if you have a certain type of man, yeah, you're going to be excited to do these things. I'm not going to say you won't. But if you are a feminine woman, just by nature, if you are a feminine woman at your core, that's just who you are, then you're going to be that regardless if there's a man in your life or not, regardless if the right man brings it out of you or not. Because at the end of the day, you should not need a man to bring something out of you that should be innate. You are a female. You are innately feminine. So if you have disconnected from your femininity for whatever reason, if you have disconnected from your femininity, you need to figure out how to get yourself back there. It is not his job to figure out how to get you back in touch with your feminine nature. See, that's the work that you're supposed to do on yourself separately to prepare yourself to be a wife. A man is not supposed to do that for you. And no, femininity don't mean being quiet and being docile and not having a voice and not speaking and not having an opinion. That's not what femininity means. And that's not what submission means either. So if you don't understand what femininity is, then I would say any woman that's looking to be married, that should be your number one thing to do. Go really understand what femininity is. And then do a self-assessment. Are you really displaying your innate, naturally feminine character? And if you are not, you need to figure out why you lost it, how you got disconnected, and how to get back to that. Because that is what's missing in a lot of the women that I'm seeing, right? Unfortunately, you've been traumatized. You got PTSD from daddy, from auntie, from mom, from grandma, from whoever, from post dudes that you picked, and maybe you thought he was cool and then he blew up on you or whatever. Like it didn't go the way you thought and you got trauma. And I understand all that. That's life. But you got to figure out how to heal all that before you entertain this man that you are going to want to be your husband. You got to figure that out. You got to reconnect with that feminine nature, because what men are saying is they are tired of the aggression towards them for no reason. Now, don't get me wrong. If you come across a dude that he's not displaying the character traits that deserve your submission, move around him. Please promptly move around him. Please move around him. But the problem is, unfortunately, we have our walls up. So even if we do meet a man that's actually a decent guy, we already got our walls up looking for when the other shoe gonna drop.
Crazy.
Because we have trust issues because of what we've experienced in the past. So even though he might actually be this one might actually be a decent guy, but we got the walls up. That's why we so scared of marriage, right? because we got these walls up from the trauma that we experienced before. Because the truth is, we haven't really done the work to heal from the past experiences so that we can be open for this decent guy that's trying to come along. Mm-hmm. We can't even spot him. We can't even see him because all we see when we look at another man is trauma. Oh, this is potentially trauma, potentially. That's why so many red flags go up. A man do something, red flags all over the place. And this man, all this man did was show up to a date in the wrong kind of outfit. Red flag. You don't know how to dress.
You're not tall enough.
Baby girl, dress him, girl. I mean, this is actually something that we are good at. We're great at this. Maybe he just need a little massaging. It's clothes. It's not his personality. It's clothes. We can change the clothes. If the raw material is good, we can change the outfit. Take them shopping. We love doing that anyway.
Right. And then I want to say one thing quick. Then another thing a man likes is accountability. That's the one thing. I knew my wife was my wife on our second date. Because she has kids from previous relationship. I got kids from the previous relationship. But you know what she said? She said I knew better. I picked them. So I can't sit up here and talk about how he did this and how he did that. I had a father all my life. And I picked these dum-dums. I said, oh, Mrs. Williams. I had never heard a woman actually take accountability for the bad choices that we all make. Men are scared too. Shit. I got divorced at 22 years old, had to give a woman that didn't pay for nothing, half of the house, had to pay child support out the eyeballs, had to do this and then. If anything, I should have said, fuck marriage. I should have been like, hey, I ain't doing that shit again when I could just date and fuck around and have one this day, have one this week. But I understood the value of a covenant, of a commitment to it. And then I wanted to be married. I've seen marriage work in my grandparents, like I always say. I've seen them live well and die well. I seen my mother, you talk about, my mother was old and lonely. She died lonely. My mother died of a broken heart. My mother never had a man. Never. Oh. My father died when I was 1 year old. They had a shotgun wedding. My father was a heroin addict and was murdered. My father died when she was 19. She didn't have a man, and my mother died at 67. She had never had a man. So I understand this whole, at the end of life, being single and lonely and alone. So I understand this fear thing, but then we always talk about we Christians, but it says in the Bible, God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, right? We always want to claim we Christians and we want a man of God, and God don't give a man no fear. Ladies, and Renee, you didn't ask my question. How many of these ladies got babies? They're so scared of a man and scared to commit to a man. How many of them got babies?
I would say at least 75%.
Okay, but they ain't afraid to have a lifelong commitment with a child.
Well, that's the thing. Again, they believe that they will open themselves up and think and possibly being with somebody that may have been of quality and it turned out to not be accurate. So now they're stuck with a kid. It's a bigger investment for a woman because if she ends up with a kid, then men will look at her and say, oh, no, you have a kid. So you are, it definitely lowers your value and everything. But when a man has a kid, it doesn't. So like I said, that's what I said. Yeah, so I'm just saying that they made a mistake. And it's like, and again, it was a vital mistake, a mistake that will cost them for the rest of their life. It will cost them higher quality partners. It'll cost them, money, time, effort, their body, all of these things that it'll cost them. So then after this, they become a whole lot more skeptical. I'm going to tell you, you probably were going to hit on this, but it sucks that it wasn't until you made that mistake that you were able to learn. So I'm hoping that like some of the things that we can start putting out towards the media is to try to help to teach them before they make some of these mistakes. Exactly. So what I had wanted to touch on, because when Joseph was speaking, what he said was just a regular thing to say, but it hit me like a ton of bricks.
That's how we feel.
One of the things that I think is happening, because I'm watching and experiencing it myself in this chat, but when he said it, he said that sometimes they just want you, just to be nice or just to have some peace or whatever. And I'm like, make him feel safe. And I'm like, ooh, it's giving, no, I know, but it's giving 80-20. And what I'm realizing is that women are only looking at men being 100% masculine and forgetting that there's 20% of just this soft feminine thing that you just want to love about a man. You just want to love all aspects of that. It is this thing that you also want to protect the same way somebody had said, like you would protect your son, right? At around 80%, that keeps it from feeling like your son because you're not attracted to your son, but it keeps it in that masculine role. And women are forgetting that. And then I realized as I had been speaking some of my own personal emotions, I would go and speak on what women are feeling. And I didn't get that safe space back. Like, damn, that does suck for women to feel that way. Men will expect for women to say, well, yeah, you should feel safe. We should understand that about you. That soft understanding right back to your 20% feminine. And then to have men hear when we speak and say, we're very, very scared. Well, why? What is the reason you're scared? It's met with all of this, as opposed to, could you be like, damn, I know I wouldn't want my daughter or my mom to feel that, and to get that understanding back. And in the same way, all I wanted to do was show this wonderful man who said, well, how come you guys don't make us feel safe too? And I'm like, oh, baby, of course. What do you need? Like, that's all I wanted to do. But that's the feminine side of me, hearing that somebody needs something from me. Oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, what do you need? I don't even care if it's a sandwich or a back rub, just like Coco was saying. That's what that emulated from me. But then when we say something on we're not like, oh, okay, well, no, I'm a man. Let me come and let me kill whoever I need to kill to make you feel safe is what we want to hear. But instead we get met with. So I realize that it's happening on both sides. We're going 100% on, everybody needs to be 100% instead of remembering everybody's 20%. I think that that's where our big disconnect is. Women are not remembering men's 20%, and men are not remembering women's 20%. Or even using their 20% to have a little empathy for women. Not feel bad for them, not make excuses for them, but show them a little of that same love for some of the things that they're just straight up telling you. This man just went vulnerable and straight up said, well, why can't y'all make us feel safe too? We want to feel safe too. He bust that out for everybody out here, and any woman should have felt like, oh, of course. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think in that instance, Renee, let's say then we'll take some closing. I think that's what women would need to lead with, though.
So women should lead.
No. What I'm saying is that's what they would need to lead with. So they would need to lead with, like you just gave some context behind, why this woman may not, feel safe. That's not typically what the women lead with. Yeah, and that's a problem, right? Because at the end of the day, if the conversation was different and that's what she actually led with, then the response would be different. See, it typically comes off as a blame, or it comes off as I need this man to impress me. But rarely does it come off, I made a whole bunch of bad decisions in my past. I played around with a lot of bums and got a kid now from this bum.
Just a mistake.
So now I don't trust men. That's not
It's
how
their
it starts. Now, see,
Accountability.
typically, if that's how the conversation started, if somebody say, you know what, man, I done jacked up. I was out here making bad decisions, man. I was messing around with these bum cats. I got a couple kids, you know what I'm saying, out of some bad situations. I'm trying to figure this thing out, but I need a man to work with me. A man is going to respond to that totally different. But that's not typically what happens. What typically happens is I need a man to impress me. I need this man to convince me why I should be getting married and being his wife. I need this man to put me back in my femininity. That's what typically gets presented, if we're gonna be honest. Because I said we see the videos, we done been in the conversations, right? So we know what typically comes out first, and that's what I'm saying. If we ready to get real about this stuff, then let's really have the conversation. But let's also be honest and transparent in the conversation and start it out with the real foundation and context, not with a finger point. Yeah, this dude don't have to impress you. Just say you done mess with a whole bunch of jokers and you got a bad taste in your mouth. But you at a point where you want to start over because you done got your mind right and you done figured out where you went wrong and you ready to move differently now as a woman. And see, a man is going to hear that and he going to be like, you know what? I understand because see, I done messed around with some little scallywag chicks. I got a couple kids myself. So you know what? And I'm not ever going down that road with the wrong woman ever in my life again. So you know what? Let's me and you step out and get something to eat. And let's kick it. And see, typically by the time, if they both keep it honest and transparent, typically by the end of that conversation, they'll probably be on the same page.
Yep.
Then it'll probably turn into a second date. Then it's going to most likely turn into a third date. Because see, she was honest about where she was at, and he was honest about where he was at. And see, if two people do that, then we typically can get to resolve. But that's not what we do today. Yeah, we just start out pointing the finger. We just start out talking about, you know what I'm saying, these men don't make me feel safe. But we don't start out with how we got to that point. Yep, the men don't typically just start out making you feel unsafe. At the end of the day, there was a character and vetting problem that was there. And you was picking a certain type of men based off the wrong criteria. Now, because you were picking off that criteria, it has left you in a situation that is going to affect your future relationships. So see, now you can't take that and put that on the foot of the new men that's coming along. That's not how that works. You got to put that on your feet because you was involved with that dude making those bad decisions, which is why, you know, we got the situation we got now. But people don't typically start out and lay it out that way and be honest about what happened and how they got there. And I said, that's the issue. So I understand what you're saying. At the end of the day, a man should provide safety for a woman. A woman should provide safety for a man. Now, will those safeties look different? Yeah, they may. Yeah. But safety is safety. Yep. So that piece is there. But like I said, once again, we got to start out with the right context and being honest about how we got where we are. That's the key that a lot of folks want to overlook. Go ahead, Vince. Then we're going to take some closing right after you get done, man.
It's funny that you say that because I always go back to how me and my wife met. And, you know, I told her we was on our second date at J. Alexander. And I told her, I've been a cheater and a liar in all my relationships. This was our second date. I said, but you know what? I want to make a change.
Wait, so
I want to. I led with that.
Because you said,
why?
Because I said I've been a cheater and a liar most of my relationships, and I said I have to take the blame for the downfall of those relationships because I was a cheater and a liar, and those women might not have been the right woman for me, but I have to take the responsibility for the part I played. And see, that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to take the part that they played. They don't want to say, you know what, that dude ain't never been nothing. But, you know, I was vulnerable. I was lonely and he was there and we was just fucking and now we got a baby. They don't want to say that. They want to say, well, he wasn't this. Our second date, and we sat up there for 3 hours at J. Alexander. I said, my wife know more about me than my mother knew about me. Because we were transparent. And it'll be 7 years on Sunday. We've been happily, successfully married. And we both were accountable. And I think that's what it's going to take for us as we get older. Because we bring in a lot. We bring in kids, we bring in debt, we bring in trauma, we bring in, a lot of things to these relationships. And that's why a lot of them don't work because we bring in too much baggage. I say it's like that person that got 5 carry-ons. You only get one. But you trying to bring a carry-on, a stroller, a car seat, a hang-up bag, your hat bag. So, it goes to accountability. And we all have made bad decisions. I mean, shit, by the time you're 35, 40, we know what the fuck it is. Excuse my language, Coco. We know what it is. Just be accountable and say, you know what? We vibing, we good. I got some shit I gotta work out. You got some shit you gotta work out. Let's work it out together.
Simple as that. Simple as
That's
that. All
Very
right,
it.
well said.
let me
That's
take some
it.
closing, man. I
Very
gotta
well
get up. We
said.
gotta get up out of here. Let me take some closing. We gotta go, man. Let me come across top and the bottom. We gone. Coco, what you want to say before we get out of here?
I just want to say, yeah, I always enjoy these topics because we end up talking about all kinds of stuff. We start with a video and then we end up talking about all kinds of things. But it's cool because the topic is Black people are confusion. So we got to touch on all the things that we find confusing. Like, let's bring some clarity. Let's ask the questions. And it's good that we don't always see everything the same exact way, because that's how we get to some type of understanding, right? Because everybody has a different perspective. So we need to be able to touch on everybody's perspective and everybody's worldview so that we can actually make some headway, right? Like, my hope and desire is that as we have these conversations, even if we don't end on everybody agreeing, or that people take these conversations and kind of run them through their filters and think about them and process what was said, right? Because you can learn something from every single person on this panel and in the comments. Like, there's always something to be learned, right? So I just think as long as we're open to it, right? Like this, like right now, I can say something that I learned from Renee tonight is that as a woman, because I'm a woman and I've done a certain amount of work, not perfect at all by any stretch, but because I've done some work on some things, I am quick to call out things in women. But there still needs to be a place where I am still gracious enough to understand that everybody got to get there and everybody's not already there, right? So there needs to be a space where there is, okay, hey, I think maybe you should look at this, or hey, I think this may help you. And then there needs to be space for that person to say, oh, okay, let's talk that out. Let's mind that out. Now let's go do something about that, right? Like, there needs to be room for that. When we're providing advice, when we're giving advice and we're providing solutions, we also have to open up a space for people to receive that advice and for people to go, apply it, right? It's not instantaneous. It doesn't happen overnight. And some people don't get it right away. Also, it's going to look different person to person because we can't all apply it the same way because it's not one size fits all. So I think that's why these conversations are so powerful and so impactful, right? I'm still going to continue to talk to women because what I really want to see us as women do, and I put us in there because there's still things I'm working on. I really want to see us. I want to see us disconnect from whatever it is society is telling us, from whatever it is the feminist movement has told us, from whatever it is. I want us to start doing. We have free will. And I see women all over the place saying, I'm exercising my free will. I love that. I love it. I want us to start exercising our free will to the point where we don't let anything else dictate how we live our lives. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean that we don't take no feedback. We above all we don't take no suggestions. I don't mean that. I don't mean you become, can't nobody tell me nothing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there, unfortunately, is some very destructive narratives that are being pushed to our community in particular, to us. And I would love to see us as Black women say, no, that is not right for us. That is not right for me, right? At the end of the day, I want to be married to a Black man. I want to have a family. That's what I want. So these narratives that are telling me I don't need a man and what have you done for me lately and all of this, like, that actually hasn't helped me. And I need to put that away. So whoever is propping that up or telling me that's what it is or that's how I should be, that hasn't gotten me anywhere. And I want us to start to really examine the things that we're hearing, the conditioning that people are trying to like project upon us, and say, wait a minute, does it actually make sense? Do I actually even like that? Do I even actually agree with that? You know what I'm saying? Because there's some stuff that's being told to us that just is not profitable for us at all. And I want us to start thinking about that as Black people. Like, I really want us to start considering what we've allowed people to speak into our community and understand that it has not helped us at all. Right? Each other. We literally are what we got, all we got. And we need to be trying to figure out how to bridge the gap between us and how to repair and restore in our community. Because let me tell you, it ain't nothing like when we come together. Unstoppable. So we have to understand that it is a weapon that has been formed, right? But we don't have to necessarily let it prosper, right? So that's I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, and I hope we can continue to have these conversations and learn from each other.
All right, appreciate that closeout right there, Renee. It's on you.
Yeah, this was a good one. I'm gonna say, what are some actionable steps? I'm gonna tell the women, please start focusing on your femininity. That's what Coco was trying to let you know. They were telling you a lot of different ways that you can exude your femininity in order to, I guess I'm gonna say, be the change you want to see. Um, and in that aspect, I want to say, like I said, Joseph was very profound. He got vulnerable, you guys. And when a man is willing to do that, you need to always, women, please focus and remember to embrace that and cultivate that, because his safety is just as important as yours. So start paying attention. Ask your mamas, your grandmamas, your aunties, your sisters, your cousins, and anybody who's married. What do they do to make the good men in their life feel safe? And then start. I hate to say it, but girl, you might have to copy and paste. It's just going to be what it is, right? For the men, please pay attention to Vince. Vince just showed you an actionable task. He went and he met a woman that he thought was quality, and he led with certain expectations, but he led by example. He did not expect her to do something that he was not willing to do himself, and therefore he stood on business, and he led as a man with that. Men, understand, you're a man. Go on ahead and lead. I know that society is trying to tell you all these things about being more docile, having a lot more feminine traits. And some, they call it, I think there's, what are they saying, that toxic masculinity BS? No.
Yeah.
Just don't hit nobody. Shoot. That's pretty much it. Other than that, you're a leader. You can take the wheel. Sometimes it's Jesus, sometimes it's you. But you gotta take the wheel. And Vince just showed you an actionable task wherein he met a quality woman. He met her where he was trying to be, not where she was at. And if she was able to meet him where he was, then he knew that that would be a quality woman. And if she was not, he would know to move forward. This is ways of, I believe, the first topic was discernment. I think the first chat I ever got into. This is a way of having an actionable task that can lead to your discernment. So he led with accountability. He showed her how to do that. And apparently she was able to follow. So I think that these are some of the things that we can do for the females, some of the things for them to just focus on as an aura of personality, as a way of, I'm going to say, addressing one of the most toxic personality deficiencies that we were talking about. I think that that's one of the most toxic ones that, if they were to focus the most on that one, would create the highest yield as a result. And for the men, please. Vince just gave you gold. Please. That's it.
All right, no, I appreciate that closeout right there. All right, Vince, it's on you, man.
There's not many women that agree with me, so thank you, Renee. I appreciate it.
You know I don't agree with everybody.
Oh my God!
But I just like to say that we're gonna have to come out of this confusion as a people and as a community. That's my whole thing. I mean, y'all know my story. I remarried again. I have two very small children, and I want them to be inspired and be uh, encouraged by community and marriage. You know, I hear a lot of talk, and I'm about results. I mean, I'm a very black and white type of person. I don't have a lot of gray. So my thing is, if something not working for you, then we need to find out what works. And us having these kids out of wedlock and getting divorced and unmarried is not working for us. We are still at the bottom of everything. And I don't care how much money an individual make, it's not as much money as two people make. I don't care how much love you guys have as an individual parent. Is not enough. It's not the same love that two parents will have for a child that's in the home. So I think we got to get out of this state of confusion. We got to understand. Okay, what do we want? Do we want a better community? Do we want marriages? Do we want things that work? So we go have to, get our head out the clouds. And then I know some of this is because I think people get to a point, where they hit the wall, so they say, I don't want something because they know they can't get it and they know they don't qualify for it.
That's
So,
real.
you can't get that brand new Honda Accord because you don't qualify, you ain't got the credits. So you say, I don't want one.
That's real right there. That's real. All right, appreciate that. Appreciate that closeout right there.
I think Coco was sick of me. I was always using Mercedes, so I just said a Honda or BMW. So I said, I'm gonna
Thanks for
take
the
it down to a
variety. I
Honda.
like.
But if you can't afford a
Oh,
Honda Accord, you in bad shape.
right.
At
That's a whole
40.
nother show.
At 40.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show right there. I'm gonna just say this. I think at some point we gotta get honest. Yeah, we gotta get honest with where we at. We gotta get honest with our decision making. Um, and we really gotta just get realistic about how things are going to go if we continue on the path that we on. Yeah, that's just really what it comes down to. I know we got a lot of stuff we want out here and how we want things to go and all that, but we got to realize that starts with you. It starts with how you moving, what decisions you making, who you talking to, how you talking to them. Like that starts with you. So until we start getting real with ourselves and keep it honest, yeah, we're going to be down bad. But we can get there. Yeah, we can turn the corner. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I always say, folks got to make a decision. Yeah, you got to make a decision on how you want this to go. Yep, and it's really that simple. Circling back to that example from earlier, I hope we all can get back to a living single scenario. Yeah, I think that's when things were good. If folks was realistic with where they was at, average folks got with average folks. You know what I'm saying? Created some, got married, created some kids. Kids went on to do well, and it was simple. Yeah, but folks have gotten so far in their heads now and gotten so unrealistic with things. I said we all over the place. So yeah, the day that we can get back to moving simply and moving in reality, I think we'll be a lot better off. But man, shout out to my panel, man. Shout out to Coco. Shout out to Renee. Shout out to Vince. Shout out to Joe. Appreciate y'all holding me down on the panel, man. Awesome conversation tonight, man. Shout out to everybody in the comments as well, man. Comments went crazy, man. Yeah, I know we touched a lot of things, but I think overall it's valuable to touch a lot of things because I think people don't touch a lot of things. Yeah, but I know that sounds crazy. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. Yeah, but people try to live in these little bubbles and they try to ignore all of their faults. So they don't touch it. Yeah, they just let that little issue be over there. They let that little character flaw just be over there, and they try not to touch those things. They only want to focus on the things that go well or they do well. Yeah, but what they don't realize is typically all those little things that you don't want to touch that's there, those are the things that's stopping you from getting to what you're trying to get to. So I'm going to leave it just like that. Well, man, shout out to everybody tonight, man, joining us, man. This is Kandid Konvos. We do this show every Wednesday nights. We go live 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, YouTube and Facebook. So, man, with that being said, everybody have an awesome night. We're going to catch y'all on the next one.